Hey, welcome back to the show. As a matter of fact, let me mute this Monday night game before I get demonetized. Welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Coach Evans, and today we're here for our weekly Ravens Roundtable recap. I don't know if we want to call this a therapy session or what we want to call this a bashing session, but what? You finna get some realness, no purple patrol, everything's gonna be all right. Now maybe some in there because some players did kind of play ball, but you're finna get the real. You're finna get the real from a bunch of real dudes, and I appreciate all of them being on here. And I'll start by introducing them. Let me hit my intro so I can make sure my stuff is right. I want to have a quality show. First off, I'm going to introduce Brodney, one half of the lunch break hot take. What up, B?
What's going on, Coach? Thanks for having me on.
You want to elaborate? You short and sweet today. You ready to get to it?
No, we ready to go.
Ready to go. I know what type of energy he on today. Secondly, we'll bring in Hendo. What up, Hendo?
What's going on? Thanks for having me. I'm glad to be here. I've been waiting for this day since yesterday.
2 times that energy. So it's like the Kevin Hart meme.
Listen,
it's about to go down.
I woke up thinking, are we having a show today? Because I got a lot that I really need to get off my chest.
Oh, this the platform to do it. Next, we got OTR Mike. What up, Mike?
What's up, fellas? What's up? Another week. Let's get it.
Indeed.
And lastly, but definitely not least, bringing the real up with Jose.
Hey, what up? What up? What's going on, everybody? Thanks for having me on, Coach. Yeah, look, we gave our audience a little taste of what we were thinking yesterday. That's just a taste. We going to really dive deep into it today. So,
and I hate that I missed it live. I was trying to end mine to get to you guys, and I think once I hit the end button, Hendo was like, "They already done."
We weren't supposed to go live because I wasn't even supposed to be on, but I was like, I got to chime in real quick, but. Yeah, we say
a lot of people had a lot to talk about yesterday. So much that I even had to cut my phone lines off. I wasn't prepared for the amount of people that were calling in, and that show probably could have went on for 2 or 3 hours. Yeah, because it was people. When I locked it, it was different numbers. Started jumping in, but it would kick them out. And I know at least 10 different numbers after I locked it. So that thing could have went on and on and on and on. But what I'm gonna do next week is I'm gonna put everybody on a timer. And that way everybody can get in and we can still enjoy the second game and not be the whole game, talking about our team. All right. So we'll do how you can get in touch with everybody on the back end. We're just going to jump into it. And we'll start it off with quarterback play. I'll start with Jose. Let's talk about Lamar's play.
Not much bad to say about it. He had almost perfect day. The fumble at the goal line obviously was a bad play. He had a couple missed throws here and there. Almost had one bad interception. All right, a pick 6 to Xavier Howard. But other than that, I mean, what was he? 21 for 29, 313 yards, 3 touchdowns, and then chipped in a measly 119 yards rushing and a touchdown, right? Like, I mean, this was going to be one of those games. We were just wondering if he was going to throw, another touchdown, make it 4 or 5 touchdowns. This is going to be one of those games that we thought we'd be sitting here today talking about why they need to go ahead and just pay Lamar now because he's having another MVP type of season early on, right? And he is so far in the season. He has 6 touchdowns?
6 of 38 by my count.
Yeah, and only 1 interception. So he's on pace for a very good year so far, and he looks very focused. So that's where my thought was going to go with it. So, I mean, in terms of quarterback play, Lamar looks like what we saw yesterday. I want to see more of that. You can cut back on the running and just let him throw that rock.
Right. Mike?
Yeah, I'm with Zay, man. Quarterback play to me was excellent. Of course, the few issues that Zay pointed out already, that pick 6 could have been very, very ugly. But, without him, we getting beat worse than what happened yesterday. So, yeah, I agree with Zay. MVP type season so far. His if for those that's keeping track, his odds dropped. It went from 15 to 1 to 10 to 1 now.
Mm-hmm.
So they're recognizing it and they see what the guy's doing. But hey, pay 8 is what I came away with saying yesterday. Even with the loss, pay that brother.
I think I'm gonna start using that as my hashtag in all my tweets, even if it ain't about Lamar. Hashtag pay 8.
Pay 8.
Hendo.
Listen, what can we say? Lamar went out there and he showed his tail. The only negative that I have,
My show doesn't go to kids, so you can say what you want to say. Like
okay.
I have 0% kids when I look at my analytics.
All right, listen. My negative isn't really a negative
Mm-hmm.
for some people, I guess. I just think that the way that Lamar is playing, he's literally pricing himself out of Baltimore. Like every week, he's showing his team, and I think, which a lot of people don't believe, Baltimore's playing dirty pool. Like that second half, it's not all just Lamar. I think they're like, bruh, you doing a little too much, and you're bringing your MVP odds up. You're bringing your price tag up. So let's sabotage you a little bit with this play calling to kind of bring you back down to earth, but it kind of backfired a little bit on him.
That's interesting. Interesting.
I mean, look
now. I got to defend the coaches because I'm a coach from my standpoint.
Okay.
I don't, unless the owner is saying, "Hey,
hands off."
Yeah,
he's hands off. He's hands off. He let them do what they do.
So you think the coaches are the coach? It ain't the coach's money. It's the owner's money.
It's not, but they are all one team. So look at it like this. I want you to take a look at last year. Look at the first half of last year with Hollywood Brown. He was balling. When it came to look like that $20 million price tag was becoming a reality, look at the plays that they called for him the second half of the season. Everybody says he fell off. No, look what they did. Look how they did to him. They're not above it. I know people think we as an organization are above doing kind of playing dirty pool. We're not.
So that could be the reason he said being used right, because that could be the underlying meaning behind it.
He came out and said, look, that's the old Baltimore Ravens. We don't do that no more. When has Lamar ever spoken out about play style and literally said we need to throw the ball more? He doesn't do stuff like that unless he's really frustrated and fed up as to what's going on.
Interesting. See, I told you was gonna get the real. I told you. Yeah. And that wasn't even on the docket. B, what'd you think?
I thought Lamar was great. I mean, obviously nobody's perfect. He made a couple of mistakes, but I mean, you're talking about the entire offense. You're not even talking about quarterback play. You're talking about the Baltimore Ravens offense. He threw for over 300 yards, 3 touchdowns. He ran for over 100 yards. He was the leading rusher by about 100 yards, right? So, we're not talking about quarterback play. We're talking about the Baltimore Ravens offense. And like the whole time that I'm watching him play through the first 2 weeks, it's just reminding me of that video, that coach in the locker room talking to his team, and he says, "Tell them, bring me my money." Oh, yeah. That's what Lamar's playing like right now.
From
right?
North Carolina, A&T.
He said, you know what? We're cutting off negotiations, right before week 1, and the price is going way up by the next time we talk.
Way up.
Yeah, like somebody in my chat box saying the price of the brick went up. The price of the brick went up. If I'm not mistaken, is that not a Marlo Stansfield quote?
Yep.
Yeah,
that's what I thought.
Yeah,
that's what I thought when they had the parlay or whatever. The co-op. Exactly.
After you got rid of Joe.
Hey, classic. That's one of that Sopranos and Game of Thrones in my 3 best TV shows, so to speak.
Indeed. I haven't seen Sopranos, but I had to agree on the other 2.
And sad, Oz ain't too far behind it.
Yeah,
Oz is dope.
Oz
is underrated.
I think it was before its time.
Yes,
it was too much before you could show anything on TV.
Right.
Yes.
My take on quarterback play is he was simply marvelous, and that's a pun on words. He was awesome, man. Running the ball, throwing the ball, climbing the pocket, his nuance in the pocket. He when he ducking and dodging people, he's still looking to get the ball downfield. I can't ask for much more out of quarterback. I can't. Now the second half, I really don't have an answer as to what happened yet. I'm still formulating that by watching all 22. He played well. He played extremely well. He played well enough to win that game plus some, because we scored 38 points without a defensive touchdown or something like that. So that's 38 offensive points, and you should win the game if you score 38 points.
31 offensive points, 7 special teams.
Oh yeah, I forgot about special. You're right.
Well,
you're right.
10 special teams technically
with the field goal.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So still 28 points, you still should win.
Yeah.
Still, you think unless you're playing against unless you playing against Pat Mahomes or one of them guys, one of them quarterbacks that's supposed to be in the league, or Josh Allen, something like that. 28 points, you should beat Tua.
Well, especially in Baltimore, you're supposed to win with 28 points.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't care if you're playing Pat Mahomes. You got a 21-point lead with less than 15 minutes left. The game's over.
Yeah, be a professional.
Should be.
and
that's all we're asking you to do. Be a professional.
Yeah, that's not even talking about the Ravens having what we thought would be one of the best defenses in the league, having that great secondary. You can give me the worst defense in the league, and we better not give up 4 touchdowns in 12 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Right. You're going to have to dink and dunk me, and you may catch up. But by the time you get to that 1 touchdown lead, it better be 13 seconds left on the clock.
Yep.
So
now, unfortunately, that team had Tyreek, and we know what he does in 30 seconds. But still, I get your point.
That was blown coverage. I really think we blew that more so than they beat us. Now, I want to take credit from them because they made the plays, they made the catches. But I think more so we blew that more than they beat us because Kyle jumped that dig route on, I don't know if that was Tyreek or Waddle's first touchdown. And then everybody's alluding to that he should have been the deep half safety on Tyreek's second touchdown. So I think we more so blew that for the most part than they executed a bunch of plays and did it. But I mean, even though they did, it just he's like I'm like Colin Cowherd. He was like everybody's on this Tua train, but he ain't. He was like he threw some touchdowns to some wide open people because of blown coverage.
That's what's so enraging about it because we know it. But 6 touchdowns, 6 touchdowns, right? Right. Like that's the frustrating part. Like that should have been our guy throwing 6 touchdowns.
Yeah, exactly. Leads like that don't go away without both teams working together. Right.
Yeah.
So it was
takes 2 to tango. Should jumped in with the deuce. He said, "Here to show support for all my favorite people. Appreciate you, the new Ravens fan. Appreciate
it." Suge.
I got a 10 spot somewhere. I don't see it. I don't want to leave them out.
Yeah, you can leave him out.
That's Hendo.
That's Hendo.
Hey, appreciate it. I don't even see it.
You can leave him out.
He says, thank goodness that we drafted Kyle to defend the back end.
That is sarcasm at its finest. But it is an expensive piece of sarcasm, and I love it.
It's worth it.
I appreciate it, man.
It's worth it because all the hate that I got from when I came on here and I said some things about Kyle, and everybody hit me like, bro, just give him a chance. He did this on his one play against Florida State. All right, I give him that.
Well, I guess we'll talk about that in the secondary part, right?
Yeah. Yes, we definitely will. We definitely will. Let's move on to the next one. I got running back play. Running back play.
All right.
Was there any?
This is gonna be rapid fire.
Hey, okay, yeah, we can do rapid fire. There it is. Sucked. And the one good play, Justice Hill had a whole from me to you guys.
Yeah.
Right now and ran out of bounds.
Yep.
Yeah. The one decent play should have been much, much better than it was. So the running backs were trash. But not all their fault, but
it's definitely not all their fault. But their part of it was not great.
But the sad part is Justice Hill was the best one. He's the best running back on the field. That's the sad part.
Yeah.
He's the fastest one.
Yeah, the lack of running game is concerning. It is super. I got 2 pieces of things I'm concerned about. I'll save the other one for later. But the running game is super concerning for me.
Mm-hmm.
We leads like the reason why. So I saw something that the Ravens are like 711-0 before yesterday's game. When they're up in the fourth quarter by 21 points. 711-0. And usually, I'm not going to say all 711, but typically we can bleed the clock in games like that with our running game, right? The fact that we can't do that right as of now is a huge problem. And I'm very, very concerned about the running game. Listen, give me Freeman and Bell and those cats from last year, because at least Freeman was running hard. He wasn't going nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But he was running hard. Give me that. You know what I mean? Over what we got right now, because it's a huge problem, man.
But we got Greg Roman, the run game specialist, the guru. Why are we having this issue?
Well, because
I think it's a multitude of things, honestly, and we'll kind of wrap them all up. I don't think it's all him.
So okay,
I think he has a part in it, but I don't think it's all him. But
so
why
does Kyle Shanahan make these adjustments and still have good running games no matter who they bring in?
Well, to me that's two different things. I don't think he can make adjustments. I think he adds at making adjustments, but his run game is okay. I don't want to throw him on the bus. And y'all know I don't like Roman. But I want to see.
But you have been defending him for a very long time, Coach.
No, I don't defend him.
This game is easy to say, hey, look.
But this might have been one of his best games he's called since I've been like dissecting it like this. This is probably one of the best games he done called.
Now, I give him that. He saw that the run wasn't working, and he dialed up in the first half some plays that worked, and he kind of stuck with it. He just didn't figure out a way to bleed the clock in the second half.
Yeah. I think to him, when you get in 4-minute offense, no matter what time of the game it is, he thinks that's just running up the middle.
Yeah.
He didn't have any he had more creativity on 2 4th-and-1 plays than any with the whole field open. The play where Andrews took the snap and the play where we finally gave Ricard a bone, that's the most creativity he had in a long time.
Let me ask you, Coach, as a coach with Fa'alele reporting as eligible, would you not have thrown him the ball at least once?
Thrown?
Yes.
No.
To just get him off balance. Like that's a play I would practice. Like he's reporting eligible.
I think he caught a pass in college. I think he did.
He did.
And he ran one in.
So my thing is, let's try to get them off balance, because if you just bringing them in there to block, they know what's coming. We couldn't get a yard 5 times.
Why not do remember when Mark scored was short of the touchdown, then they ran the next play? Why not try something like that again? Even if Fa'alele was in there, even if you didn't throw it to him.
Right.
Why not try something like that again?
Because he doesn't know how to set up plays for later on. He just knows the here and now.
I got a question. Why, if your entire identity is we're going to be the best run team this league has ever seen, why can't you just line up and run the ball? Why don't you have an O-line that can push the defense back, a yard, 2 yards, and get you into the end zone? That's the I don't care about what plays Greg Roman is calling in that situation. Your O-line should be blowing the defense off the ball. This is what you decided you want to be. You got all those linemen, including Fa'alele, who was reporting in as essentially a tight end, an extra lineman there who's 400 pounds. You got six tight ends on the roster. You got a fullback on the roster. These are the things that no NFL team has. You have them because you're the running team. That's what you do. And you can't move the Miami. I don't want to disrespect the Dolphins. You can't move the Miami Dolphins back a yard.
Right.
You can't move them back at all. This goes beyond Greg Roman. It goes beyond John Harbaugh. That's an EDC problem.
Right.
You got a center that's a smaller guy.
That's not, Coach. That's
not can't win leverage.
Coach, let's not do that with the center. Let's not skip over everybody else and go straight to the center, because that's my guy. That is my guy.
That's my guy too. But Coach is right. Like,
in that situation, he's not good for that.
Oh no, I'm not saying that he's good. My thing is, let's not go straight to the obvious. Let's go to the guy to the left of him. Let's go to the guy to the left of him. Let's go to these other guys that we knew coming into this season. Ronnie Stanley wasn't healthy, and we're going to replace him with a guy that wasn't healthy.
Right.
Yep.
We didn't actually go out and get a left tackle. We tried to convert a right tackle, which we tried when we switched the season before. We tried the switch before, it didn't work. So yes, Linderbaugh, he's a little light. He needs to get in the weight room, but it's guys next to him that's not helping him out at all. Right. That's just my point.
And I like Linderbaugh outside of short yardage situations. I really do. I think when we run in kind of zone stuff, he's awesome at it. I think he's getting better at the gap stuff, but mano. And what I did realize was in a couple of those goal line things, me as a coach, I'm going to put a nose right on top of the center. The Dolphins didn't. They had 2 guys in the different A gaps, but they didn't have a guy straight up on top of Linderbaum. So them 2 guys crashed down. And now it brings your point in even more. The 2 guys beside the center, what did they do? So I feel you. I definitely ain't trying to take the blame off of none of them. But at any time it's 4th and 1, I feel like and it was less than 1 initially.
It was less than 1.
It was less than 1. You can get me 6 inches. If you can't get me 6 inches, I deserve to lose.
Yeah.
Well, it's a problem of every time we get a 4th and 1, Greg Roman calls the same play.
So it's either got to be you drafted the wrong people, like B said, or
Thanks.
your O-line coach isn't coaching them up, right?
One or two.
Yeah, it's got to be one of those things. Why
This
is Ben
is one of the
Cleveland
questions.
playing anymore?
That's
Because he's still practicing for the conditioning test.
You know, we spent 5 draft picks on that left guard position. It started with who just left? Bozeman. Bradley Bozeman started out as left guard, right? Then we get Ben Powers in the 4th round. Then we get Ben Bredesen and Tyree Phillips.
Yep.
And now we drafted Ben Powers in the 3rd round. That's 5 draft
Cleveland.
Cleveland. Yeah, Ben Cleveland.
The Bens.
Cleveland. Yeah, the Bens. Yeah.
Bredesen, Cleveland, Powers.
Yes.
And Mason, but just another Ben.
So, I mean, 5 draft picks. All of them are 3rd or 4th round picks. And none of them are working out. Like, so what's going on? Either EDC is doing a very bad job, or that O-line coach is not doing his job. Now, you know, this is when it comes down to when fingers start to get, you know, start pointing at each other. That's where it's gonna be EDC gonna look at Ozzy, who's still in the building, helping him scout, say, hey, it's not our scouting, right? It's not gonna be just EDC, it's me and Ozzy. We're scouting these guys. We can't be this wrong. It's gotta be John and his people, right? I think that's gonna raise our ugly head here in the future.
Yeah, it's if things don't, and I will disclaimer, it's just the second game, but if things don't straighten up, they're gonna start turning on each other.
Absolutely.
They're gonna start turning on each other, and it's gonna be some finger pointing and some backbiting, and then the kicker is gonna be 8 gonna be somewhere else.
Now, with that being said, I think the O-line did a pretty good job.
I was about to say. Like, listen. We gotta be able to punch it in down there, you know, and even going forward on the 4th and 1, we gotta be able to get those plays. And in the past, we have been able to. We used to seeing that, but no sacks, right? They didn't give up any sacks.
Nope.
They kept 8 clean, so we got to give them some props for that. I see a lot of comments saying the O-line was trash. Hey, they kept the Lamborghini clean, baby, and that's what you asked for in those moments. That's what we want 99% of the time. That other 1%, we do need them to get that 1 yard. We do need that, but keeping that Lamborghini shiny that's the big prize right there. That's what we really need. So, you know, they didn't look absolutely trash, but I agree. We got to shore up some things. Hopefully, when Ronnie come, you know, that'll help shore up that left side, and we can. I mean, you know, we fingers crossed he's coming eventually, you know. But I give them a B. I give them a B for yesterday.
They did pick up they handled the zero blitz look better. And that's the video I did earlier. They handled that look better. And Roman had he had a little extra thing he did in there that I like. He put Likely in motion and the first 2. So speaking of setting up plays, I think this is one time he did. He put him in motion and Likely helped block. He like went left to right or whatever and then helped block interior on the line. I think he did it again and helped block. So the 3rd time they tried to throw a little screen to him, even though he only got like 4 yards. I think that's the very first time in 4 or 5 years of really looking at the Ravens games hard, me seeing like something be set up and actually seeing it happen, the setup happen in the game.
But you know what's funny about that? It's you know, you have to have that part of it, right? But then you have to have the knowledge of your personnel. Like, why would you throw a screen to Isaiah Likely?
I said that during the game. I did. I did say that. I understand he can make people miss, but I don't know if you guys noticed that they didn't just do the blitz zero look on 3rd down.
Did they what on 3rd down?
They did not just do that blitz zero look on 3rd down. They had a couple second downs in there, and they had 1 on 1st down. And I may have missed 1 or 2, but I think I got most of them. But they all weren't just 3rd and long situations. Part of it was because initially we were staying out of 3rd down situations. Yeah. We were only 30% of 3rd downs, but most of that came in the second half.
Yeah.
Anybody else want to chime in on O-line play?
Well, I'm gonna just to speak on that zero blitz look and everything yesterday. they did handle it better. One thing, and speaking of play creation and setting up plays, like Hendo said, like if you pinpoint, especially in because it's the freshest play on my mind, that almost pick by Xavier Howard, right? I don't know if this is Lamar or if I don't know if this is a play call, but what about a pump fake there, right? Because they know, right? We know what we doing. We getting the ball out quick. Lamar seeing it coming. Okay, I'm quick throw, boom. And then these guys are smart. So by that time, Howard knew what was coming, so he picked up on it. But like, why not in those times call a pump fake, a pump and go or whatever? Like those are the things I would like to see. And I don't know if we putting that on 8 or we putting that on the coach to call something like that. But it seems like when we do figure out something, and I think you said this earlier, Coach, like we don't adjust well, right? So we stick to it. So okay, look, this is what we're gonna do. Is working, right? Oh, they coming with that zero look. We throwing quick passes. We getting it out. It's working. We don't get creative enough off of things that we find that it's working, and we don't. It's like we sleep on the opponent and that they won't make adjustments. You know what I mean? So it's just
that's ego.
That's a problem for me. But I mean, like you said, they handled it better. They handled the look better. Pass pro was good. So, we'll keep it positive there. But that run situation, we gotta figure that out.
Hey, Mike, I'm gonna put that on 8. I shouldn't, as a coach, have to tell you to pump fake. But the reason that I think it's happening is because Lamar remembers last year. He remembers all season in the game against Miami. I don't have time to pump fake.
Right.
As soon as I pump fake, I'm getting stripped. And I remember this. So when I get back there now, I'm trying to be efficient. I'm trying to bring down the turnovers. So I'm not thinking pump fake because I really don't know what these guys around me are actually doing. Because Lamar makes that offensive line look a lot better than it really is. So I just think
true. I didn't think about it, but when you said it couldn't be truer. If we had a standstill quarterback, he would have been, IR 2 or 3 times already. 2 or 3 times. But they did play better. They did.
They did.
Because he wasn't even able to do that last year.
Like if one play I highlighted on the matter of fact, I think it was the first time they did it when they threw the little quick screen I don't think it was a quick screen. I think Lamar and Bateman realized the cat blitz, and he just stopped and faded. He just stopped his route and faded so he can give himself more time to catch. So I think that was an adjustment of the adjustment. So, but I think that's on them and that's not a Greg thing. But that play, he had a wall. Even if that ball would have been something to go down the field like a deep route or anything, he had time. He had a full wall with grass between him and the nearest blocker, like the perfect U almost to get it out. So they did something better, but you just got to put it together. But as far as O-line play, I'm with you. I'll give them a B for the most part. They would have had an A, but you can't get me 6 inches, and that probably should take them to a C because you got to be able to get a yard every time. I'm gonna say a C because you got to be able to get a yard. That those 4th down issues negated all that good play they had in the other parts of the game.
Yeah. But I can't put all those 4th down issues on the offensive line. Greg Roman calls the same play every time. This on 4th and 1, he calls the exact same play. So it's kind of hard to get pushed when the defense knows Lamar's going to run power O left or right, and predominantly more right than left. Right. So I mean, they should have gotten pushed, but
even on a sneak, like you know what I'm saying, like even on a sneak, everybody knows the sneak is coming.
True,
you got to be big enough to push it enough to.
You don't even have to push the defense back on the sneak. You just gotta hold your own, and the quarterback falls down, and the ref have no idea where the ball is, and that's a first down.
Yep. Or in our case, it would have been a touchdown.
Yeah.
It's crazy. You're right. I transitioned right on to linebacker play. I mean, offensive line play because we were talking about them anyway. So I think what we have left on the offensive side is wide receivers and tight ends. We'll start with you, Mike.
Bateman showed me something yesterday. I didn't him pull it away, break it away like that. I was like, okay. They looked well. I mean, we saw we had a Mark Andrews sighting. Likely, I don't want to go back to what I said on this show a couple weeks ago. Now listen, I apologized because I said in the offseason He's reminding me of Boykin 2.0, and then preseason went through, and he proved me wrong, and I apologized. All right, now he's kind of sliding right back down to that to that area. But listen, we tend to forget, and Jose and B, I think you guys said this on your show, right? The likely height was at an all-time high, and you guys were saying, look, you guys are banking on a rookie, a 4th-round pick, to be the savior of this offense. So you might want to temper that. And I think it's showing, because it's a lot of pressure on these young guys, man. You know what I mean? Like, this type of football, you know, every week, you know, when he was in college, you know, I mean, you want to win, right? But on this level, every week is must win. Every week. And you got to be on your A game every week on this level. So that's a lot of pressure on these kids. So, and we saw that in the secondary, and I'm sure we'll get to that. But, you know, to me, they played well. I mean, again, I don't think Bateman is a true 1, right? I think Bateman is a really good 2 at this point. And you put him with the true 1, and Lamar got some true weapons on his hands. So the fact that, you know, we got a bunch of 2s and 3s for Lamar will always be a problem for me. Now, I'm not saying Bateman can't turn into being a 1, you know, but he got some work to do there. But again, Andrews is a problem. You know what I mean? And he showed that. But overall, I think they played well. And Lamar, and again, 8. Is it 8 make these guys look better than they are? Or are they ballers? And that's all. And that's the problem that we have, or the question we'll always have with this team he got, this wide receiver room that he got, because, you know, he really doesn't have a game breaker. Like, you look on TV now, and on both sides of both teams, they got game breakers, right? On all teams playing tonight, they got game breakers at that position. We don't have that. We don't have that guaranteed guy there. So we're gonna have that question: is it Lamar making them better, or are these guys true ballers? So that's why for Bateman it'll be a question for a while. But don't get it twisted. I see you in them. Mallow 226. It's not shade. I'm just tempering what I'm saying. I don't think he's a true 1 yet. I mean, I think he's a
that's
really
not shade. That's a fact.
Yeah.
I do have 2 things I want to kind of rebuke what you said. As far as, well, one thing I really agree with you, Doug. Did you see the footwork, the execution of the slant on Xavier Howard for the touchdown? That was an excellent route. That was probably one of the better routes I've seen run in the NFL. Beautiful. What the nuance that he did with that and turned around,
he caught it
that corner
too. Yeah,
right. That's on the throw. That part's on the throw.
Yeah.
But to get open, the footwork and the for all that, and not to have to stutter and do all this, man. And I've been a wide receiver coach for 19 years, so you know how that made me feel. That's like, I record this and I'm gonna show it to kids when I coach them again. That's how good that was. But the second thing is likely. You said you feel like he's coming back down to Boykin territory. Well, obviously the first game he was trash. You know, chalk it up to nerves, weather, or whatever. Second game he was 4 for 5 on his target and had about 45 yards. So that's. And I remember reading the stat book this morning. I'm thinking that's about what I expect out of him each game.
Yeah, the one play that jumped out for likely is that drop. And we thought it was drop? Yeah, we thought it was going to be a penalty, right? And they ended up picking up the flag anyway. So it ended up being a huge drop, right? That is, even if you even go back and look at that clip, just the way he stretched out, and wearing the number 80, it just made me think about it. Just said,
"Oh, I'm thinking." Okay, I'm thinking you saying Boykin because of his play style. You talking about?
No, well, I mean, just I mean,
all around,
all around. But I mean, I'm poking a little fun at the kid. I think he is more talented and will be better than Boykin was when he was here. But it's just that we gotta get, and I got myself caught up in that hype after the preseason. I'm like, all right, yeah, this dude Lamar, he got another weapon here. And I agree with you. Expecting more than that 4 or 5 for 45, 55, 60 on a good day is asking too much. And that should be what we expect. And anything over that is just icing on the cake.
Mhm.
But yeah, I poke fun, but I just, it just looked like 80, the old 80 when he dropped that ball.
The funny thing is, it's situations. If he dropped that ball in the first quarter and still catch the other 4, we probably ain't talking about it.
Yep.
We ain't talking about it. And his number still would say 5 targets, 4 catches. It's just
you love
somebody
a
mentioned situational football.
Yeah, you love a narrative. You drop a pass and then you bounce back. You catch the next 4.
Mm-hmm.
I think even expecting 4 for 40 consistently out of likely is a bit much. I mean, over the course of the season, that's over 700 yards. I'm not seeing the number 2 tight end.
Well, when you don't have a number 1 receiver, who gets them yards?
Well, I mean, who's been doing it the last 4 years?
The number 1 tight end.
Nobody. Right. That's what I mean. Nobody. Right. They've just been throwing for 3,000 yards. So I think when we talk about the wide receiver and tight end play, I would probably give him a C. Obviously, Mark Andrews is Mark Andrews. He had a very nice game. Bateman, like you guys have talked about, he's pretty impressive. I think he's a fine number. He's not like a top receiver in the league, but he's fine as the number 1 in Baltimore. Ideally, you want to have somebody else on the other side, but he got traded to Arizona, but whatever. When you talk about
he didn't make it and then got traded to Arizona. He was coming here, but then got traded to Arizona.
What do you mean? He's coming
the one that's hurt right now, not the one that dropped the balls yesterday. No, suspended. I'm sorry, the one that's suspended right now.
Right.
Yeah.
I was talking about the one who was here, who showed that he could play, who made plays in the playoffs, and got shipped out because they didn't want to pay him. But when you talk about the rest of the group, you had 4 catches total from the rest of the wide receivers. Likely he had a good day, a bounce back from week 1, obviously. But the thing, and Mike, I know you're talking about Justin Jefferson and AJ Brown and Stephon Diggs and all them. You don't have to look at them. You saw it in that game. There were 2 wide receivers on that field who went for over 170 yards. There are 2 guys on that field who did whatever they wanted to do. And there's nothing close to that in Baltimore.
Both with double-digit catches, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I believe so.
And then you have to look at Waddle drop 5 easy passes.
Sure
5.
did.
So he could have been well over 200.
But you don't remember because he dominated that game.
Because he made Armour Davis look like a toddler in the end zone.
Right. That's kind of thing, right?
How tall is Armour Davis? Because I know Waddle 5'9", 5'10".
But he got a like a 90-inch vertical. My man
equivalent to him catching that was like Shaq dunking on Chris Dudley.
Right.
And then at least he didn't push him down.
Shoving him off.
He didn't push him down. Yeah, good thing.
Man, look,
the rest of it is just the rest of the group is just not there. They're not people that you can rely on every week. Duvernay, I do want to give Duvernay credit. I mean, he didn't have much of a game receiving. But he did affect the game, right? He scored that opening touchdown. He's a guy who, like we've talked about, wants to be out there, wants to make plays, and is kind of, finding ways to do that anywhere he can.
Yes.
But he's not a very good, very consistent wide receiver. Tylan Wallace.
Did he play?
I don't know.
Yeah, he did. He got 2 targets.
He had
in crunch time.
Okay,
career high. 2 targets.
Well, just talk about the targets. He caught one of them. All right.
But doubling his career catches.
Right.
Yeah. Yes. Listen, y'all are being sarcastic, but you throw parades when James Prochet does that kind of stuff.
First of all, James Prochet had 7 catches in one game.
Wow, did he? How many was he? He
had more catches in his career than Wallace had yesterday. He had 7 times more.
Listen, man. If we were playing another team, if we were playing a different team, if they play like this against the Jets, I'd be like, yeah, wide receivers, I give them a B+. But we saw what an A looks like on the other side, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I thought our guys did well, right? But those guys did so well, we didn't remember any drops. All I remember is why can't we stop Jalen Waddle? Why is he so wide open every time and we can't tackle this man? Mm-hmm. And why is Tyreek Hill, who is the cheetah, just running by himself. The second touchdown, coach. The second touchdown. As soon as he passed the guy, you had another wide receiver. No, he didn't throw the peace sign. The other wide receiver puts his hand in the air before Tyreek Hill even catches the ball.
Right.
Because he's like, as soon as he starts running the street, he's like, touchdown. Touchdown. He got it. And I'm like, the disrespect. Like, can our guys do that? Can you imagine?
Hold on. Yes, our guys can do that if a coverage is blown. But if was a fifth. You know the rest.
Twice. Listen. We all know what Tua is, right? Tua isn't a 6 touchdown quarterback, right? Mm-hmm. He's not a 6 touchdown quarterback, but he got 6 touchdowns yesterday. Mm-hmm. What if Lamar had those weapons?
He might.
Look, he always say it with a straight face too, boy.
But that's why I always say, man, like, yeah, it's worth it. Like, yes, Tyreek Hill got a boatload of money. Does anybody remember what he got paid?
No. Nope.
Once the season starts, it doesn't matter.
Right.
Like, you don't get extra points for saving money, right? You just end up with a worse player. And that's what we do every year. We get a bargain. And we go into the season with worse players. They upgraded by any means necessary, and that's what happens. That man was doing it last week too. They said that he was that wide open last week, but Tua wasn't hitting him.
Mm-hmm.
He gets open every week. That's what somebody like that can do for your team. And they got Jalen Waddle.
And it's crazy how a lot of people don't even mention Tyreek's name in like the top guys. Mm-hmm. Right. They give you D-Hop, they give you Devontae Adams, they'll give you sometimes they'll still throw Michael Thomas, but nobody really says best receiver in the game. First name come up as Tyreek
because he's not a volume guy. He doesn't need 100 catches.
Right, that's what I've been saying. But he probably is the best guy.
Look, and nobody can break your heart.
He's definitely pound for pound, probably the best player in the league next to 8, if not equal to 8.
Jalen Ramsey put him at number 2. I think he put him Tyreek at number 2 as all around.
Who had that one?
Devontae.
Okay.
Okay.
Now for me,
I salute.
Lily, there's nothing more hurtful than you seeing this.
What?
Before he even he 40 yards from the end zone and he doing this.
No, Mike, he doing it like this.
Yeah.
He's looking at you. He's
not even. He's running.
He looking behind. He's trying to turn this.
I was like, man, I hope you
trip. Listen, could you just imagine? Because like I'm sitting here watching Monday Night Football right now. Stephon Diggs has 3 touchdowns
already.
That's another guy that we could have had. Mm-hmm. That's another guy Lamar could just drop back, throw it up, and trust. Bateman, I prayed that we drafted Bateman because at that time it was between Terrace Marshall Jr. and Rashad Bateman, and I was a little more familiar with Bateman. He may not be a number 1, but we also have to realize, and I know I may be contradicting myself on some things, but he hasn't even played a full season yet.
True,
because he was injured. So he hasn't even done a full 17 games. That footwork, like he's going to get better. He's going to build that rapport with Lamar. Mm-hmm. And my thing is, I think that people get caught up a little too much in wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2. My thing is, can you make the play when I need you to make the play?
Yep.
It doesn't matter what your number is. Now, with all that good, now I have to get to the bad. And I keep telling Ravens fans, temper expectations. I need y'all to stop driving me crazy because every time somebody has a good game, a good half, a good quarter, y'all are up in arms. Devin Duvernay, yes, he had 2 touchdowns. I'm proud of him. I'm happy for him. But he did not get a catch till the 4th quarter. His first catch did not come till the 4th quarter. And if that's supposed to be your wide receiver number 2, that's a problem. Isaiah Likely, yes, he only dropped 1 ball, but it was a very important ball.
Mm-hmm.
He dropped 4 balls last week. So by my accounts, I'm not a math major. That's 5 drops in his first 2 games. And to this day, I was just having an argument with somebody earlier. Y'all getting on Hollywood for his 6 drops for the season. Your tight end, your number 2 tight end, your number 2 wide receiver has 5 drops in 2 games. But I don't hear all of the noise for Likely.
I'm going to tell you why. Because in business, they don't make noise. Hollywood made noise. So anytime, and I'm guilty of it myself. When he said the first time about soldiers or whatever, and I was like, yeah, you're right. But then you go out and drop 2-3 balls the next game. So I was like, shut up and play ball.
But
he was right the whole time. But I'm just throwing myself on the bus because I was one of them guys that like, man, you talk too much. Just
he does.
Yeah,
But my thing is, listen, that's my guy. I like Hollywood. He had 3 drops in that Detroit game. Yes, but he had 3 drops the rest of the year. But the difference between Hollywood and most of these other guys they're comparing him to, look at the Cincinnati game. Look at that Dallas game. Look at those tough catches for touchdowns that he made. Likely has not made any difference-making catches in the NFL period. So let's stop giving breaks to people that don't deserve.
We just gave Bateman a break for not having a whole season. It's likely second game.
True.
What does that mean? They all get paychecks.
No. You who said something about? Didn't you say something about Bateman not playing the whole season?
No, I'm just okay. I'm
saying
second
game.
But we're not asking likely to be a number 1 though. We have Andrews, we have Bateman, and we have Duvernay to take away those top 3 corners. So you on cornerback number 4 or safety number 2 should be able to get open and catch the ball. I'm not asking you to make a contested catch. I'm asking when a ball hits you in your hands,
catch it.
Do what you're paid to do. That's all I'm asking. I'm not asking him to be super spectacular. And I put this on Ravens fans because they always put this pressure on a guy to be something that they're not supposed to be after one game, 1 quarter, one drop. You know what I'm saying? Well, so let him develop as to who he's going to be. Let's find out what he is before we put all these expectations on him. That's all I'm saying.
I have a question. If say you put yourself in likely shoes, if throughout the course of the year you catch 80% of the balls you've thrown, would you be happy?
Me personally?
Yes.
No.
So okay, you wouldn't be happy with an 80% catch rate.
No.
And that means it depends on your targets. I mean, it depends. So they factor in people defending you too, not just you being open. So I'd be happy with catching 80% of the balls.
I'm not saying it's a bad. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, Coach. But just like when Joe Flacco was asked, "Are you an elite quarterback?" What else is he supposed to say other than "Yes, I am"? If you really believe in yourself, you're supposed to say, "I want to catch everything thrown at me." Now, realistically, it's not going to happen.
But the thing is, and the other 20% aren't drops, right?
Right.
It's you caught 80% of the targets.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say.
We didn't drop 20%.
Okay.
But you know why this is such a passionate argument? Because we are void of that kind of talent that we have to rely on a 4th round rookie. We shouldn't he should be able to just develop. I think there's a lot of potential in Likely, right? But we built up this hype around him before he even took the field for a regular season game, and we put these expectations unfairly on him. Yeah, he's gonna make some mistakes. He's gonna make some rookie mistakes. I think he can grow into become a solid tight end. I mean, maybe he be like a good number 1 tight end, right? Like who knows? Like he has talent, but we put this pressure on him. The team put pressure on him because they refuse to bring in any real playmakers, anybody that can really change the game. And they're just like, oh yeah, we really like this kid. So we're like, okay, well, we need you to make that 3rd down catch. Those other catches were nice, but this is clutch time now. We got to close this game out. We need you to make that catch. True. And it's unfair to him, but that's just this is how they wanted it. This is how EDC and Harbaugh and them wanted the team.
And that's why I say it's an EDC problem. You see what Big Reg put out their bench. Kyle Hamilton, the number 14 overall pick after 2 games, and it's Ravens fans, and look, I don't even blame him for saying it, but it's Ravens fans are always looking to rookies who they should not be looking to be the savior for the team. Madubuike was going to come in and be the next big thing on the D line. He was going to be wrecking offenses. Oway was going to come in and be Julius Peppers. He was going to be a superstar pass rusher, right? Isaiah Likely is going to come in and people literally said he was better than Mark Andrews. Off of that preseason. People did say that. And Ravens fans are always looking to those guys because they'll tell you, if you ask them, they'll tell you, it's a great team. It's a really good team, right? We just let the young guys play. We got receivers. We got Duvernay. We got Prochet. We don't need to go and get Stephon Diggs. We don't need to go and get Devontae Adams. But you're looking to the rookies because those guys aren't it. They're not. If you thought that those guys could actually play to the level that you need them to play in order to contend for a Super Bowl, you wouldn't care what Isaiah Likely does. You wouldn't care what Shamar Bridges was doing. You wouldn't care about Mekhi Polk because you would have confidence in the guys on the team.
Devon Williams.
Yeah.
He been gone. He don't count.
No. But remember,
Right.
remember, all of Ravens YouTube, we got this 6'5" guy that's gonna come in here and wreck shop.
Wait, time. You said all of Raven YouTube.
No, you know what I mean.
Hold on. Which I'm a part of.
No.
When I saw Devin Williams, I was like, "Ooh, he's good." But when I turned around and saw
Oh
Pope,
my God.
when I saw
Excluding
Pope,
this panel right here.
Devin, when I saw that he couldn't get stuff done with his quarterback in camp, I said, he got to go. He had an unfair advantage over everybody that was trying out for the team.
Yeah.
The guy that threw the ball to him for 6 months, maybe even 8 months, was in camp with you, and you couldn't have some kind of connection with him.
Coach, he played in the Pac-12 and barely had 500 yards. I knew he wasn't going to be anything.
Yeah. I just hopefully somebody of height would be on the team in the red zone, because that could alleviate some of that 4th and 1, 3rd and 1 stuff too. But our tallest guy is Bateman at 6'1", and sometimes he wasn't even out there.
Okay, look, how tall is Jalen Waddle?
You can't. He's short, but he got like box springs in his calves.
Okay, but it doesn't matter how tall you are. You
But
go and get
balls
talented
like him and
receivers.
Tyreek. Okay.
Go and get talented receivers, right? No, I mean, listen. There was a guy years ago. He passed away pretty young, unfortunately. But I believe it was James Hardy, who Buffalo drafted at wide receiver. He was 6'7".
Mm-hmm.
He ain't catch one red zone pass. Like, it don't matter if
Thomas
you're
Streeter. Remember Thomas Streeter?
Yep.
Ramsey's Barden.
I mean, listen, this is gonna hurt me.
6'7"
It's gonna hurt me to say, but Kelvin Benjamin and Devin Funchess,
Yeah, it's true.
right?
The tight end,
6'5". Well, no, it was the wide receivers.
Which one
at that time?
I mean, Kelvin was a tight end in New York also. So.
That's Cam Newton ops.
But yeah, it's not the height, it's the skill.
Yep.
True. Because Tyreek goes and get jump balls like no other.
Steve
and
Smith.
Waddle's starting to do it too.
Steve Smith.
It's like a gummy
Yeah,
bear. You remember
like
that cartoon,
Steve.
Gummy Bears?
Mm-hmm.
You drink that potion,
You're right.
they just bounce everywhere. That's Tyreek Hill.
I think we're gonna wraps up offense. We hit quarterback, running back, wide receiver, O-line. All right, now to the dark side.
No, coach, this can't be the dark side, because when we went and did the roundup before the season started, everybody was telling me top 5 defense.
No,
we spent too much time on the offense. We should have saved all those points for this.
Yeah, we spent the hour. The show's over. So we don't need to talk about it.
I say dark side because they're so rich that all their houses are so back away from the road that it's dark. That's why all the money of them think.
That is facts.
They got so much of the cap on their side that all of them stay a mile from the road. They gotta take an Uber to their mailbox.
Malik Willis in the game.
Yeah, because it's 41-7.
And
let's start with D-line. Oh yeah, definitely been that
D-line.
Start with D-line. We haven't had to call names, so we can just kind of go, or I can call, or if you want to.
D-line. What is there to talk about?
Were they
I was
there?
about to say.
Were they there?
I didn't see anybody.
But last week I told y'all against the Jets banged up offensive line, slow down.
You did.
I said slow down, but no. The push, this, we dominate. And listen, Miami had some backups on that O-line too.
Tackles.
Mm-hmm.
The center was good. And I count the outside linebackers out there with the linebackers. We ain't talking about Oway and Houston right now. Right. It's just them 3 in the middle, or them 2 in the middle.
Yeah, you can put them all together, because Tua attempted 52 passes and got sacked 1 time by Justin Houston.
Yeah. Now, when they're in the game, it's going to be tough to sack him because he's not holding the ball.
No.
Everything is RPO. Well, not everything, but it's high RPO, so he's not going to get sacked a ton.
Okay, but more than once.
Get hands up, get hands in throwing lanes or something. But what I'm going to say is they were down so much that he in turn had to turn into a straight drop back guy, and that's when we got no pressure or no push.
Nothing.
Early in the game when he was RPOing and stuff, we was getting, at him and getting him off his block and stuff like that. But when we knew he was drop back passing, crickets.
Nothing.
Crickets. That's my 2 cents.
And that's why I like why'd you bring back Calais Campbell for this?
And listen, who was that? I can't remember who that was in the chat. When I said that, he was like, bruh, something wrong with you. We need Calais Campbell for leadership and need it for what I said, bro. He had 1.5 sacks last year. He got hurt. He wasn't effective, and that was down from the year before. Like, we gave this man $8 million literally to come out here and just stand there and put his arms up. That's all.
Yeah.
I just also want to say, just real quick, and I'll let one of you guys can jump in. Stop paying old, washed-up players to be leaders. Just stop it.
Right.
Stop it.
It's in our DNA, Brian, and we can't help it.
Yeah.
It's gonna have to change with the NFL changing. But
I didn't see a whole lot, but like the couple of times I did see something happen, I saw Broderick Washington, they make a tackle. Matt BK made a little tackle on a run or something, but man, they were transparent.
you didn't even realize they were playing.
You didn't realize they were out there.
Hey, Jose, the opacity was down to 0.
They were so transparent. Like, we can't even say anything bad about them because like they weren't the ones getting smoked out there. Like, you knew what they were there, but you just didn't see them.
You know, Calais and Matabike were 3 of the highest graded Ravens players yesterday.
Sure
they were in the top 3.
And that tells you about the
according
grades.
to PFF, right, Mike?
According to PFF, yep.
Right.
Did
you see what I
what
had to
they're the
do
worst
under
at?
one of my comments and told him I need you to explain to me how y'all grade people, and he linked the article.
D-line and offensive line are 2 of the things that they're probably the worst at. They've been getting criticized for that for years.
Mm-hmm.
There's stuff to take away from PFF, but O-line and D-line probably not it. I don't really have anything to add to what you guys said about the D-line because, as Hendo said, what's there to say? Didn't play the run well. Didn't really get after Tua, who is, he's Tua. I don't know that it's really that difficult to rattle Tua Tagovailoa, but Baltimore's not able to do it. So,
wrong. It's Tua Montana. Tua Montana.
I heard that from somebody today too.
That was Tua Steve Young.
About that.
105
left-handed.
The fan was saying that they're blaming it on EDC and not Harbaugh. Listen. That's going. This is what I was saying earlier, right? When the finger pointing starts happening, that's when it's gonna be curtains for Harbaugh because EDC has Ozzie in his corner. If Ozzie wasn't in the building, it'd be different.
Yep.
But Ozzie's still there helping with the scouting, and there's no way that Steve Bisciotti is gonna say, "Look, Ozzie, maybe you just don't have it anymore." They're gonna say, "We are doing our job. We're getting all these picks." The law of averages say we can't miss on all of them, right? Look at our history in drafting, especially offensive line. Now, all of a sudden, we just don't know what we're doing. It ain't us, right? It's them. You got to look at that side. Harbaugh's toast. If it comes down to that, he's out of here. And Bisciotti already thought about firing him before. He said that publicly. All right, so.
Did you see his press conference today?
Snarky. Ooh, Will was snarky. And apparently, this ain't on the agenda. But did Rex Ryan touch his nerve?
I love that he threw a little shot at Rex Ryan. I loved it.
He did throw a shot at Rex. Yeah,
Rex needs to sit down.
And he was absolutely right.
But Rex was
correct. Rex was right in what he was saying, but John.
But Rex always got to put a little extra on it. and Rex is salty, because he ain't coaching.
I don't think Harv's like when he said, the new hot shot defensive coordinator ain't it. I think that's what Harv took personal, and I guess he felt he had to protect this young guy. But what he was saying, I agree with what Rex was saying. It's no way. I just gave the stats earlier. There's no way this in Baltimore at home. Hendo, I think you said this yesterday on your show. In Baltimore, you up 21 points in the fourth quarter and you lose. We've never seen that. We ain't used to that. And so what Rex was when he was talking on that, he was absolutely right. But I agree with you, B. I was happy. I was happy to see Harbs get a little testy and throw a little couple shots out there. And those are things. Listen, in moments like that, you got to protect your players, right? And he protected his young guys, and he threw shots at the talking heads, as he said. So those are attempts to get your team to say, okay, you know what, coach riding for us, so you know what, let's get better. But that's it can go one or two ways in situations like that. So I'm glad to see he took that approach. But
Right.
yeah, man. I mean, I agree. Rex was right. We ain't
So
used to that.
my question to you, Mike, is where was this defending of Lamar during the offseason when the media was coming at him and asking about contracts and stuff? Where was that defense at from Hogs?
Well, that was the team that was doing that, though. So,
Yeah.
you know.
Right. Those tweets might have been coming from his burner phone. For all
I know
the tweets are coming from inside the locker room, Hendo. I love that you say, "Hey, the players are gonna be like, hey, coach has got our back, so we gotta give his back. We gotta play." Because when you started saying that, I'm like, yeah, coaches got our back, so I need to go out there and get shut down by Greg Little.
Hey, I thought this. Think about this. Our coaches are so out of touch with the culture of our players.
Mhm.
Look at what Tomlin did. Tomlin knew he has enough IQ to know what black Air Forces mean.
Don't do that. Don't do that, coach.
Yeah, no, it's true.
And what they do?
Yeah.
And what
did they do?
They kicked some butt. They brought that black Air Force
5 turnovers on Burrow. 5 turnovers.
Yeah.
They came in there. Yeah. Look, Harbaugh, he fakes it, man. Like he's a fake Tomlin, right?
Mm-hmm.
He looks at what Tomlin does. Is like
that can't. And much as I love Baltimore, the team, I like Tomlin over Harbaugh as a coach.
Of course, always.
Listen, you don't want to hear my comparison. Who I compare Harbaugh? It's not even a comparison. He is this coach.
Who?
Mike McCarthy.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
And if anybody in the chat wants to challenge me on this,
interesting,
right?
Don't do it.
Pull up their records. Regular season, postseason, Super Bowl wins.
And they will show that John Harbaugh is definitively the better coach by about 1.5 games.
By 0.01 winning percentage. They are a mirror. They are the Spidey. He is Mike McCarthy.
And it's
all
funny
the way
because
through.
It's funny because Raven fans don't like it when you tell them that he is Jason Garrett, because Jason Garrett doesn't have the ring, but he is also Jason Garrett.
He is.
Easy E says McCarthy is a stretch. Easy E, pull it up. I was gonna save it for Wednesday's show. I was gonna do one of those blind tests that Nick Wright does. Right. I was gonna pull up the record. Pull up the record. Regular season and postseason, it's almost exactly identical.
The difference between John Harbaugh and Mike McCarthy is that John Harbaugh is likable. And
is he
kind of I think he is. Like if you are not a Ravens fan, if you're not a Ravens fan and you see his press conferences, you see his interviews, he's a likable guy. You don't like him because you root for the team he coaches. But Mike McCarthy is an asshole. You saw him throw Kellen Moore under the bus the other day.
Certified.
Right?
Except when he's talking about candy. I heard his interview on the Dan Libertar show. He was very excited to talk about his favorite candy for Halloween. Yeah,
like Andy Reid when he talks about his mac and cheese.
Crazy.
That stuff is endearing when you win, right? But when you lose, then it's a joke.
It's aggravating.
So yeah, D-line play was pretty bad.
Right, because they weren't even there. I marked them red today. They were targeted or absent.
Yeah.
These guys were pretty bad too.
Hey,
listen.
There was a play.
I got to give Tua a little props. His ability to move people with his eyes is very underrated.
Yeah,
and I could see him moving Queen and Bynes with his eyes. Not saying Queen or Bynes did anything wrong, because they're taught to read the eyes if they're like a read coverage, and he just would move them left and then throw it right, or vice versa. One time he dropped back, he was looking right at Queen, and when he threw it, Queen really couldn't move because he was throwing it right at Queen, but it went right across his ear to somebody like streaking behind him. He never had to do anything, so he could just kind of freeze Queen by looking at him, and the ball went right behind Queen's head for the most part. So, but now, other than that, they was bad. And I still don't think he gave up 111 yards. I saw a PFF number say Pat Queen gave up 111 yards.
Queen
I don't think
bad.
so.
I mean, maybe not. I'm not a huge fan of the yards given up for linebackers like this. It is their job.
Part of it not his fault, because at one point he was lined up head up with Tyreek.
Yeah, you can't do
But
that either.
they had Bonds on Tyreek too.
Listen.
Bynes covered him a little bit, but he shouldn't have been there. You're right.
They should have been. Listen, why a linebacker's covering? Wide
I'm going to
receivers?
remind you again, sir, about one Luke Kuechly covering Julio Jones step for step,
Bruh.
30 yards downfield. All right.
Where do you see anybody close?
Isn't that the 300-yard game?
But no, it was not.
So are you comparing Pat Queen to
my-
Luke Kuechly?
No.
Is that what we're doing?
No. This is my
Sergio
point.
Kendall.
This is my point. Is don't draft him in the first round then.
Yeah.
And that was my whole point.
Same thing. That's so basically the same point Hendo be making about Hamilton, right?
And
Yes.
Queen.
I mean, I don't hate Kyle Hamilton.
Queen's
the way
who you was
I don't hate
Hendo
Kyle
does.
Hamilton.
Yes,
No,
you do.
listen.
Yes, you do.
Listen,
Stop.
like I
Stop.
said, I saw Kyle Hamilton. He has a podcast on YouTube, and I actually watched it. I'm like,
He
he's a
hates
likable-
Kyle Hamilton because that one play is against his Seminoles.
Oh, you like Florida State?
That's not- that's
Oh,
not-
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to expose
You
you.
like
That's-
I
Florida
didn't mean
State?
to expose you.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's my squad. Listen,
Hold on. How I exit him out of here?
that's not. Listen, I don't. Listen, I keep telling you, I don't dislike the player. I dislike the pick.
Mhm.
Yeah. You don't, hate the sin, love the sinner. You don't like. It doesn't matter. Phrase it however you want, Hendo. You don't want Kyle Hamilton here. I'm just saying.
I don't want him here because we can.
He's teasing you, but we feel.
Would you want him here at round 3?
Me personally,
Yeah.
it depended on what we drafted in round 1 and 2.
T. Higgins.
I would say no, and here's why. We have Chuck Clark. We had the Joker, Deshaun Elliott, right? Like we had safeties. I mean, Chuck Clark played well at the end of last
He
year.
did, and he's still playing well.
He's still playing well, so well that Kyle Hamilton can't get on the field, right?
The funny thing is,
Stop.
he is on the field.
Yeah, that's the funny
Yeah.
part.
Yeah, he is on the field. They just dropped Chuck in the
A
box.
bit. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's a luxury pick. And you saw my shirt I was wearing yesterday. Hashtag defund the defense. Stop spending those picks on luxury picks and give your offense some help. You know what we need? We need a tackle. We need a left guard.
A number
Right.
1 receiver.
We need a number 1 wide receiver. No, don't get Kyle Hamilton.
Number 2 and the 3 wide receiver as well, right?
Yeah.
Because
Chill, man.
I mean, look at the depth chart.
Play a little bit and quit.
Yeah, linebackers, man. Look, Owe,
Who?
disappointing. Yeah, disappointing so far. Justin Houston, I mean,
Go away, maybe.
Yeah,
Listen.
listen.
That
It's-
name is taken, sir.
Yeah, look.
That
Who would
that
go away?
Can he go away down in up in New York?
I did hear a clip of Harbaugh talking about Owe. I guess it was from
Yeah.
today. And basically just saying, hey, look, he's gonna have to play better. Man, listen, that's an understatement, right? He has to. You got rid of Judon for this man.
Yep.
Mhm.
Judon has 2 sacks on the season so far. Judon had 12 sacks
9
last
or
year.
12 last
He
year.
had 12
had-
last year.
Yeah, he was in double digits. Yeah,
He was in the
Mhm.
runnings for All Pro.
Yep.
Okay, like that's what kind of year he had, and we got rid of him because Owe was supposed to be an upgrade on him.
Mhm.
Right.
Training wheels are off. I don't want to hear this. Oh, with inexperience and you gotta give him time. We don't have time. We don't have time. If you want to go with the young squad, they better know what they're doing. You know who came in the same year as Owe? Michael Parsons. Michael Parsons is out there killing it. I wish we had
JOK.
him.
JOK.
JOK.
Oh yeah. But listen, Jose, Owe said I didn't know they were
Too
going
many
to double
O's
team
in
me.
there.
He said I didn't know they was going to double
They
team me.
didn't deliver the game plan the night before.
Oh,
Right.
I didn't know they was going to scheme against me. I just
Right.
thought they were going to let me run free.
To be fair, though, why would they?
Why would they double team him?
Yeah, why would they scheme against Owe?
I don't know. Listen, I just thought that was a media excuse. And I even saw some
B
people
woke
in
up and
chat.
chose violence today.
Well, I'm just saying, like,
That's me every day.
Was it just, hey, it's Justin Houston? Oh wait, we got to pick one because you notice they weren't blocking Justin Houston when he was getting his pressure.
Mhm.
So I mean, I guess they made their choice, but yeah, why would he think that?
Yeah.
Listen,
I didn't like the pick initially. When we drafted him, I was
You like
extremely
now?
upset, mainly because of look at his teammates. Parson was on his team. What's some other cats that came out the next year was on their team? Why couldn't he get production with all those studs they had on defense that 2-year period?
we were told that doesn't matter. He has the traits, and he's going to be a superstar. And they were going to be at us every single week, reminding us about
And I fell for it.
that name. That name hasn't been typed in our chat room, and I don't know how long. Since what? Since Kansas City last year? Week 2?
Week 2. That was week 2.
Week 2 last year.
Yeah. I fell for the Kool-Aid eventually.
Yeah.
Man, that's the year that they did was testing at the school. Everybody was running 4.3s that year.
So
it was a record.
So, Coach, I haven't been paying attention, but has Owe been on special teams?
Not this year. I don't think so.
Okay.
Not this year. I don't think. I know he started at that position last year, but there was more depth there too. He wasn't one of the starting guys.
I was trying to give him an excuse.
Better get his ass back out there. he had 5.5 sacks when he was on special teams. I mean, what's he doing now?
Getting double team.
Getting that double.
They can't put him on special teams. They only have 2 edge rushers. They need him fresh.
They have 1.5.
Yeah, 1.5. Well,
and we lost.
Well, he might be the half. Just he's a half.
No,
I'm the one.
Yeah, always the half.
How Rose get hurt?
Ross,
yeah,
he did get
his
hurt.
Foot. He hurt his foot. He's on an IR right now.
I'm saying, it happened at practice, or it happened in preseason.
It happened in the game. He's been playing special teams.
Yeah,
slid past me.
Yeah, I was going to ask the same question
because the special teams.
Oh, he should have been at linebacker.
He should have.
Maybe he said he's a victim of the OA hype. It's all good, brother. It's all good.
Possibly. Because like I said, I didn't like the pick, and people tricked me to start liking it. And my expectations are too high for him right now because he ain't producing. But it is game 2. And I'm going to try to remind myself that it is game 2, even though it looked bad.
Coach, that's all we can do. Because if you think about it, you say first round pick, we got Owe. First round pick, we got Queen. First round pick, we got Hamilton. That used to be one time during the draft where we used to hit first round. Mm-hmm. All the rest of the draft might have been crap, but our first player was always the best. And we got Owe when we desperately needed a tackle. Desperately.
Our last hit first round is Lamar, right? Correct me. Because Andrews was a late round pick.
Bateman was
Hollywood.
Right.
The jury's still out on them.
Well, yeah. I don't think the jury's out on Hollywood. Hollywood can play.
Oh, okay.
But he's not here.
He's not a great
right.
player.
So
who?
So listen, don't. Okay, Coach. So
I'm joking.
Since we play this game, Coach, I got a question for you. Now I know I had my grade and my reservations. How do you see this draft? Now, even though it's just 2 games, how do you see this A+ draft that ESPN and everybody's been giving the Ravens for? Do you see this draft as a success?
At the today, as of 10-15, no. Because you drafted Ojabu, who may or may not even help you this year. Yeah, but I know that's second round, but still, you drafted him.
He's not.
You got Linderbaum, who potentially could possibly be that because he jumped in and he started from the time he was drafted, and he's really learned on the job. So I ain't gonna go hard on Linderbaum yet, but because he's playing decent. Because you don't hear his name getting called like for giving up sacks or a bunch of pressures or something like this. But Hamilton's already being pointed at for blowing stuff. Key moments of the game. So that's not looking good right there. Pepe, I was liking. For value, Pepe, I was liking. J. Loma Davis, I may like for value. Travis Jones, I love, even though I ain't seen him play yet. And hopefully what he's shown in the preseason can transfer somewhat to the regular season. I hope.
Like the rest of the preseason stars?
Yeah, that's what made me say that. He did get me. That's exactly what made me say that. Hoping to transition because I too fell a hype, but my hype came from his college tape and not necessarily what he did the preseason. Preseason was kind of like an icing on the cake because in college, the entire defense was schemed around him because it was him and us 6 out there or us 5. And when he went out the game, it was like not even a leaky faucet, a dam opened up. So my judgment of Travis is on his college tape because the people that he probably was playing against in preseason probably packing groceries or something right now. But but Stout's up. And when we talk about the punter as being the one that's gonna hit,
don't do it. Don't talk about
so Stout ain't surefire.
I'm not saying he's not. I'm saying don't talk about punter.
We talk about no. Oh, okay. So you want to talk about the 4th round punter that in the 4th quarter had a 36-yard punt? Is that who we talk about? 36 yards? 30, 4th quarter, 36 yards.
I missed that.
Okay.
I missed that.
Listen,
Well, you know, I was working on my camera froze on me yesterday.
Okay.
He
So I was
got
trying
caught
to
up
fix
in the
my camera.
quicksand. He got caught up in the quicksand there. The whole team did. But you know, I want to point out something you said, Coach. You like Williams for value and Jalen Armour-Davis for value. But again, like Jose was saying about signing players for cheaper, value don't make plays. Value
You're
doesn't
right.
play on the field, right? And that's why I say this is all an EDC problem. I mean, not 100%, but you know, it starts with EDC because you had, what was it, 5 or 6 fourth-round picks, 11 picks overall. Could have easily traded up and gotten one of those wide receivers or gotten yourself a new tackle, because who knows what you're going to have in Ronnie Stanley if and when he comes back. And even when he does, if he's fine, you still don't have a right tackle, right?
You can't tell me they put all that hope in Falele like that.
What?
I like Falele. I watched him. I thought he was going to be a good right tackle, but yeah, you're saying you're putting all of it on him because Morgan Moses ain't it. Jawan James ain't it. I mean, unfortunately,
how could you put on Falele? They didn't know you're gonna, they're gonna get him. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like that's my whole thing. You didn't know you were gonna land Falele.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. Like, so if you're talking about a team where you have this superstar quarterback, right, and you've got these all pro corners and you've got this great historic run game and you want to make a run at a title, don't tell me that 4th and 5th round picks are playing important roles. People are making excuses for those guys, Armour-Davis and Williams having to cover Tyreek and Jalen Waddle, but like that's their job. That's the role they're put in. If you don't want those guys covering those receivers, don't draft those guys. Move up, draft better corners, or go in free agency, get yourself J.C. Jackson, get Stephon Gilmore, get James Bradbury. Do something, bring in somebody can do that job, and then you don't have to worry about a guy like Williams or a guy like Armour-Davis getting burnt in that situation.
True. Hey, I told you was gonna get the real today. I told y'all that from the jump you was gonna get the real. Anybody else want to add on to it?
Go ahead, Mikey.
I was just going to say this was my second concern that I spoke of earlier. The lack of pass rush. We just lost Steven Means today too, so of course that's not a good thing.
That wasn't much.
But when you're up big like that, this should be a defensive lineman, a pass rushers. I ain't gonna say what I was about to say because I know keep it clean.
I know,
but you know what I mean.
Fantasy.
Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah,
right.
That you get to pin your ears back and attack and rush the quarterback. This is a fun day for you, and the fact that we couldn't get no pressure is a huge concern for me again. So that's number 2. That's my second concern. I said the lack of rushing and the lack of pass rush. So listen, we lost another guy. Now they talking about somebody else coming in. I don't know who. We'll see a signing this week. I don't know who it's going to be. Everybody screaming JPP, but what
he going to do for us?
What he going to do?
It's going to be a defensive back.
He's almost in Calais stage.
Yeah.
I mean, he's already there. Like, why isn't he on the team? We just finished week 2.
Yeah.
Oh, already in the city. That's what you're saying, or already like committed to?
No. I mean, why isn't he signed somewhere?
He's saying all guaranteed is no need because there's no guaranteed contracts. Week 1 is done. So why hasn't somebody signed him yet?
That clip may be real for him,
especially with all these injuries.
Yeah. Well, he might be here.
But again, this goes back to that mentality of trying to, like we keep trying to get these bargains, right? And we try to get these steals. You're not going to get guys that are going to come in here and give you 10 sacks that are just hanging around on the street. It doesn't happen, right? If it happens, you get extremely lucky. We're banking on extreme luck. That's not a winning strategy
at all. Jeff. Jeff says stop recruiting from nursing homes. But I think that says Spank T. He says, was Earl Thomas' criticisms right in you guys' opinion? Did Earl say something recently, or is he talking about the old Earl?
I'm not sure. What did he say?
I think he's talking about the old Earl.
He said, was Earl Thomas's criticisms right in you guys' opinion? I don't know exactly what Earl said.
I don't think he was right because I don't think that you and your brother should be able to share a woman and it be all right with society. Like
Right.
I don't agree with that.
He said before
Earl's
he
a
got
wild
cut.
boy. Earl's a wild boy.
Yeah, I don't really know what he said though.
Listen, he could be right. Like I don't remember exactly what he said when he was having his issues, but broken clocks and blind squirrels, right? Like he could be right, but that is we don't need to listen to Earl for anything
at all.
Yeah.
What about the blind squirrels?
They always
No, I'm playing. And now, so let's talk about these cats. These Bamas. That's one of my new favorite YouTubers say. These Bamas.
That's what they say. They still saying that?
Yeah, he country too, just like I think he's from Atlanta. It's off script. He does swag football stuff, and he always calling people Bamas, and it's just catchy.
That's what they say. In
DB play, safety and cornerback. Jose, I don't want you to start because I think these cats at the top, they about ready to bust. So Hendo, I'm
no. Go ahead.
No, you B got it. I'll let y'all start. You be a mic.
Look, I want to throw a question to the chat. I just want to pull the pin out this grenade, just throw it in the chat real quick. Okay. I just have a question. Last year, it was rumored that we were this close to trading for Xavier Howard, right? We didn't want to give up the first round pick for him. My question is, would you rather have Xavier Howard or Kyle Hamilton right now? Go.
Right. Cut his mic off. Obviously, because if you think about that happen, we don't have Kyle Hamilton. You're right. I was thinking Linderbaum, but Linderbaum was the second guy when we traded.
Yeah.
You're right. Because they still had the idea that they were getting rid of Hollywood, so they knew a first round pick was a possibility. They were just trying to be greedy.
I'll tell you the answer to that is neither. Trade up and draft a wide receiver.
How about that?
Yeah.
I'm with you. I was saying that.
But in my scenario,
but once you don't get Howard,
just think about had we traded up and got just the guy from the Jets, was it Wilson?
Garrett Wilson.
Yeah.
Think about Wilson on the other side of
or Drake London.
I ain't seen Drake play yet though.
Chris Olave.
He's playing well.
Yeah, I haven't seen. I saw Wilson. I know he got some moves and some get up about him. He just don't have a quarterback. I haven't seen Olave or I hadn't seen Drake yet. Even though I did college stuff on him, I just hadn't seen him. So,
but you already know, Coach. You already know any one of those three are better than anything we're gonna put opposite Bateman.
True.
Tenfold.
True.
But I'll just get my opinion out of the way real quick, and then you guys can say what you want about the DB play. It's 72%, 469 yards, 6 touchdowns. That's it. You don't need to say anything else about the defensive backs.
Ooh, you should have went last. I think so. Early in the game, I talk about early in the game. Early in the game, I saw some of the best tackling I've seen in secondary for a long time, and it was by the young cats. It was a play on Tyreek. Pepe stopped him. He caught the ball basically at the line. Pepe delivered a form tackle on him. Hamilton had 2 what I thought decent tackles. The second one, it was a flag or something. I thought he ended up, fumbling. It was a legal man downfield, and they tried to throw it to the running back or something. He hit a guy, looked like he made him fumble, but it was incomplete. 2 solid tackles, and Jalon Davis on I think maybe a hitch or an open field tackle made some great tackles. Now, those guys should be cover guys. We shouldn't just be praising their tackling. They didn't cover much. They had some plays, but consistency is what you need to be good back there. And they were very inconsistent technique-wise and knowing their responsibility-wise. And knowing their responsibility could all be pointed to one person, but I don't know. I wasn't in the room. It just looks like Kyle Hamilton on both those deep balls. The one where he bit on the dig and the other one where they was just all at the line of scrimmage for some reason. Kumbaya, and while Tyreek Hill running down there looking back up.
Hey, Coach, can you pull up Jimmy Dean's comment, please?
Okay.
Oh no.
Xavier Howard starts with Xavier Howard.
Yeah.
Xavier Howard will be a quick fix. Hamilton had the potential to be an asset to the defense for 5 years on the cheap.
So
I love the way he said had the potential. It's all over now.
Yeah, it didn't work out.
So the reason that this comment caught my eye was because and this is a Ravens fan front office problem. So you're telling me that Xavier Howard was what, 27, 28?
I don't think he's that old.
He might not even be that old. So you're telling me a proven product, proven for the next 5 years we could have had, but you want to go with potential because it's cheap. What has cheap talent gotten us for the Ravens? It's gotten us nowhere. It's just like people complaining about Lamar needs to take a team-friendly deal so we can get assets. What are we using that money for? What assets are we putting on his team? You know, that's what the draft is supposed to be for. We're supposed to pay our prize free agents the money, our superstars their money, and build around them through the draft. So you're telling me we need to continue on this narrow path of letting sure things go and bank on people that have potential. Owe has potential. He ain't showing it. Queen has potential. He's not showing it. Hamilton may be in his second game, but he ain't even close to showing it. He's still living off that one play versus Florida State. So that's why I wanted to pull it up. As far for me, defensive backfield, Marcus Williams, listen, he's a dog. Like, he's doing much more than I expected. I think he's going to be worth that $70 million that we paid him, even though a lot of fans griped about it. Now, Marlon Humphrey, I thought that this was going to be a redemption year for Marlon. I know people were high on him, but ever since he signed a big contract, every season he's gone down and down and down.
Yep.
Now he's having problems staying healthy. So to me, this secondary isn't what everybody thinks that it's going to be. 29, right? He's still.
I was wrong. He was 29.
He still could play decent for the next 5 years, and then you can move him over to safety.
Quick question to Ashanti: what Williams is better than Howard? I hope we're not talking Pepe.
Y'all be talking reckless up in here, man. Like,
Nah, I mean, legit question. And Ashanti also said that we aren't talking realistic trades earlier because you can't go over the cap. Look at the LA. Look at the Rams. They find a way to make it happen. We are just that team that we're afraid for some reason to find ways to stretch things. Listen, the New Orleans Saints were what? 70 million?
70 million
over the cap this year.
2 weeks later, 30 million under.
They were 100 million. They were 100 million over the year before.
So
now
it's a way. It's a way to make these things happen.
I'm sorry. I mean? I'm sorry, Mike. Matt Stafford, 120 million. Yeah. Jalen Ramsey, 105 million. Aaron Donald, an extra 90 million. Cooper Kupp, 85 million. There might be.
Ashanti was talking about the safety.
Oh, Marcus
safety.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Well, those are two different positions.
Right. Yeah.
Right. It's tough to compare those two positions because they're worth a lot more. And as far as outside guy and safety, you can elite corner change the game.
Oh, looking at the TV, we got Stephon Diggs. They re-signed him. They just gave what's his name, Miller, $140 million. Josh Allen just re-signed. So let's stop with this. We can't go over the cap business because it's not real. It's how you finagle it, and it's how you want to do it. Right. We just don't want to spend that money.
I'm glad you used that word finagle. I'm gonna give you an off-script kind of comparison. So I play Madden from time to time in a like a league with a franchise league. So I got the Chargers and the Packers. And so, I'm going to show you how the cap is capped because, they pretty much get the contracts down to a T on there. Do. So in my Chargers league, it started before Derwin signed that deal. I can't re-sign anybody else. I got like $100,000. Yeah. But they still got Derwin on that team for $100 million or whatever he got. Mm-hmm. So there is ways in real life to get around it. It's just on paper, the cap is there.
Yeah,
right.
As if that owner wants to put that money in escrow and pay that that little surcharge. I know it's a different word.
But another issue is a lot of people don't know about cash over cap. That's a whole separate entity aside from the regular salary cap, where the owners kind of had to have that money in their pocket. They kind of had to be liquid with it, and that's why you have Jimmy Haslam that can do some things that these other owners can't do because he has the actual cash in the bank. Yeah. To say, oh, you need what? You need $1 billion from me? Let me write this check real quick. Other owners can't.
Bashadi got it too.
Oh yeah, I mean, but he doesn't want to spend it.
And that part of the game, I got to educate myself more on. I'm more so on the field. There's a lot of people, in circles talk cap, and I kind of bag about the room because I don't really know how to crunch the numbers because
So it's
I
simple,
have
Coach.
to see it. If I look on paper and it looks like we out of money,
Coach,
I kind of go the other way.
it's simple. The cap is only in place to keep player salary down. That's the only purpose, to keep player salary down. When an owner wants to have a good team, they can maneuver the numbers however they want to, add voidable years, push stuff down the line, because when does the future come? Never. Right? So they can keep pushing money down the road. They know the cap is going to go up. They can, convert part of it to a sign bonus or whatever. When they want to get the players that they want, it will happen. When they don't want to, they can say, well, look at the cap, I didn't have the money.
I don't know if y'all remember the New Orleans Saints signed Taysom Hill to like a 6-year, $140 million deal.
Yes.
And they gained $20 million in cap space.
Everybody was like, yo, what are they doing? But
I was trying to find it just now. I can't find the article, but there was a point where the Chiefs in the offseason were about $100K under the cap.
Yep.
And then they signed Travis Kelce, Chris Jones, Tyreek Hill, I believe it was, to massive extensions. It's not a real thing.
Yeah.
Right.
You make it, you listen, it boils down to whether you're trying to win or not. Right? The Rams showed us that, all right, we all in. You seen the shirts, F them picks, right? We here tend to love and coddle picks like they are babies, right? We love them. And we went into this draft with 11, 14, 17 million picks, and we aren't aggressive, even when we have that capital, right? What I was hoping for, what I was praying for, what I was optimistic about this year going into the draft was, okay, we got all this capital. You know what? Let's package some of these picks. We're either going to acquire some talent or we're going to move up to get a player that we covet, right? Kyle Hamilton fell into our lap. Like Zay said, it was a luxury pick. But are we able to make luxury picks at this time, right? We used to be able to do that. A player like that fall to us, we like, okay, yeah, bring him in because we are already stacked everywhere else. So this is a luxury pick. We have true needs. So again, the whole bargain shopping, going to Costco's and all of that type mindset of shopping, like we have to, as long as we in that, like Lamar said yesterday, it's not the old Ravens. It's not the old NFL. It's the new NFL. These teams are surpassing us because they're willing. Look at the Bills right now. The Bills adopted what the Rams did just last year.
Yep.
And look what they're doing right now. They're all in.
Hey, Mike, I just want to say one thing to what you said. Kyle Hamilton didn't fall to us. Nobody else valued a safety that high in the draft. He didn't fall. He was slotted later on. We just were the dummies that said, listen, if we draft this one pick, we're going to look like geniuses.
And to the point, and I agree. Everybody's saying Hamilton's just getting started. It's 2 games. I understand. Look, I see potential in the kid, but the thing is, when you draft someone that high, you need to see something now. If he was drafted in the second round or late first round, you got a little bit more wiggle room. But when you're a top 15 pick, we need to see something now. And it's okay. Like, yeah, listen.
Aiden Hutchinson looks pretty good.
Yeah, whether we want to give him time or not, he has time, right? He's a young guy. He's going to grow. He is going to get better. But when you take somebody there, you want to see your first round pick shine. And that's what we need. And that's what we're not seeing right now, whether it's game 1, 2, or 10. So that's where the criticism is coming from. It's not that we don't like the kid, but we just want to see a little more from him. And we expected to see more from him because he's on the field. If you on the field, we need you to play. We don't have to, unless we are adopting that mindset of like, yo, we're not ready to win. If everybody in the chat and our fan base is ready to say, yo, we're not ready to win, we're not a Super Bowl contending team, then I agree with what everybody's saying. It's only game 2. Yeah. But if we are supposed to be contending, we need these guys to play now. We need to see it now. And that's just where all of these comments from us is coming from. We want to see it. We need to see it. We want to see it. We want to win. I don't know about y'all, but I think when you got a Lamborghini in your garage, you can do anything you want. You pull that thing out. right? So we just got to do what we can do around that Lamborghini and protect it and do whatever else and put the talent around it so that we can make a run at this thing. But we don't want to waste that talent. I don't want to see it wasted.
I put that comment up there kind of for Hendo, because he has the perfect saying for that pick about Hamilton. He says not the person, it's the pick. And it like you said, it's not Kyle Hamilton the guy. It's his us being able to use a first round pick. The guy got to go right now. Top 15, basically the same thing you're saying. If you pick from 15 to 1, that means you're probably starting and contributing right now and not being coddled alone.
Beat out by Chuck Clark?
Coddled alone.
Beat out by Chuck Clark?
Beat
out by Chuck Clark.
I do want to address a couple of the comments you put up there. Z talking about
I knew you were going to say that. I was thinking that too.
Your money in escrow.
Let me go find it. I had it up there a minute ago. I know what
you're You have to put the money in escrow. You have to put the guarantee in escrow. Steve Bisciotti is worth over $6 billion. The highest guarantee in NFL history is $230 million, and he's not the only owner of the Baltimore Ravens and any of these franchises. Like, they are all extremely wealthy people who own these teams. That is not an excuse to not sign these contracts. Also,
Bisciotti didn't make his money from this team. He was a billionaire coming into it.
Yep.
And also Ashanti talking about the Bills saying, they had a couple free agents, but they built through the draft and they're going to steamroll the league. That's fine.
Week 4.
That's fine, but EDC doesn't draft like Buffalo, does he? They don't have the players like Buffalo does, do they? And I know you're using Buffalo, but not the Rams, who just won the Super Bowl.
How about that?
Bringing in a bunch of mercenaries.
Which one of those mercenaries in Buffalo now?
They have a baby before that.
And I wouldn't be surprised if the last real mercenary on the block end up in Buffalo too.
Yeah.
OBJ.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's between Buffalo and LA and the Rams.
I see he's making his visits right now. He was in New Orleans on Sunday, right?
Yeah, he ain't signed in New Orleans. He went down there to get
taken out. He got Tom.
He went home.
He
went home.
He might have signed with New Orleans till Jameis became Jameis again. And he was like, I don't need
No, Tampa was in town. He's probably,
Yeah, that might be true too.
And he saw enough of that. So it's between Buffalo and LA.
I appreciate you for the 5. Thomas, he says, free your mind and your ass will follow. That's what's the it's an in vogue. Let's see. I think that's about it, fellas. We sitting at 137, which means we cut a little bit of time off. Great conversation, and we probably should have spent more time on the defense, but our comments defensively were pretty much straight to the point. Go ahead, Hendo.
How about the coaches? Talk about the coaches.
Oh, let's do that.
The root of the problem.
Yeah.
Coaches. Go.
I mean, I'll go ahead and go first. You're stuck in the turn of the century NFL. It's not that league anymore. You're not going to win a Super Bowl being the defensive run first team, especially when your defense is trash and you have no run game.
So I want whoever challenged me on my comparison of John Harbaugh is Mike McCarthy. Did you look up the records? All right. It got real quiet when I said pull up their record. Pull up the regular season and playoff record. If you don't have the name next to them, you don't know who's who. He is Mike McCarthy. That's what we have on this team. He is a special teams coach that took over a championship caliber team that just needed a quarterback, right? Harbaugh he didn't build this culture, this Ravens culture. We had that culture. This culture was built. Harbaugh didn't build anything here. He walked into a well-oiled machine and benefited from it. He ain't doing nothing special out there.
Benefited from it. He tore it down.
As I was about to say, he built this new Ravens culture. We draft soft-ass players that don't have a chip on their shoulder and they want to be Mr. Good Guy. Like, he built this new Ravens culture.
He wanted followers and not leaders. He wanted to be the only voice in that locker room. He got followers and he don't know how to lead them.
I'll say the chips are overrated. Baker's got one, and don't scout by chip.
Don't scout by chip.
So you said he don't have leaders. I think there lie ends the problem. He does have a lead on the team, and he ain't taking that bull crap.
Oh yes.
I think H's the leader now.
Yes,
and he knows it. He knows he's the guy. He knows nothing moves without him shaking, and his chest is out, which it should be. His head is high, and he knows he's the top dog. He's the top dog in the organization next to Bashad.
But he should be carrying Lamar's bags every day. He saved this man's job,
didn't he?
All that's true, and they said this offseason, let's have a meeting about maybe trading this dude.
Right.
but that still don't negate the fact that he's the guy, though.
But the problem is Lamar is just too nice of a guy. Like, he doesn't have it in him to be that asshole, so to speak. He doesn't have that Terrell Suggs in him to be like, look, coach, I'm gonna put you on Front Street and let everybody know. And we need to have another mutiny and just have that closed door and let them players speak their mind instead of stepping in line.
But the way they want this team to be built, and it's comical, right? They want this team to be the 2000s Ravens, but you got a head coach that doesn't want any of those players in the locker room, right? The way, like, we want to build it on defense, those leaders need to be on the defensive side of the ball, right? The closest thing we had to that was CJ Mosley, and you showed him the door, right? I guarantee you, if CJ Mosley was out there yesterday, it wouldn't have went down that way.
Nope.
Right? CJ Mosley was the last person that would have got everybody together and said, listen, this ain't going to happen.
Yep.
This ain't going to happen. We're going to get it together. But you got to show him the door, and you got timid PQ out there. I don't know what he was doing. He's rolling around the ground. Just looking lost.
He was enjoying the grass.
So let me ask you, good fellas, this question, because
Yes,
I've heard different things, listening to Ravens radio today. The miscues, the miscommunications on the 2 touchdown passes. Is that on coaches or is that on players? Because I've heard both sides. I've heard both sides say that the players
at some point the players gotta step up. That is a let me break out my book of cliches here. At some point, the players had to step up. That is a sure sign that the coaches are effing up. Okay. When they start saying at some point the players gotta do their job. When the players are when everything's going well, you don't hear that, right? Even if they have a bad game, if Kansas City just has a bad game, they're not going to say, hey, at some point the players got to do their job. They say, hey, it was just a bad game. It just is what it is, because all in all is well. But you don't start hearing that until it's really going bad, right?
Yep.
It's only game 2, but they've been playing bad since last year, even before the injuries.
Which is what Ryan alluded to.
Yeah,
This ain't just happened yesterday.
It started week 1.
I mean, it started before last year. The defense was still just good overall, but they've always had miscommunications that led to big plays in that secondary.
Yes.
It's absolutely the coaches. It doesn't matter what players are back there. I mean, you just went and got Marcus Williams, right? Every Ravens fan will tell you he's the best back end safety in the league. That he was going to erase all that stuff.
Next to Jeremy Chin.
So yeah, I'm gonna put it on the coaches. Well, I'm gonna put this on John Harbaugh specifically, because if you look at it, what did they say? Wink's defense is a little too
fine young man.
Wink's defense is a little too complicated. Like, that's why we have miscommunications. That's why people are out of position because of Wink. We come in here with Mike McDonald, we have the same issues. Harbaugh said in the press conference today, it was just miscommunications. Players didn't know their responsibilities. Now, defensive coordinator Mike McDonald was supposed to come in here, erase all that, make everything right as rain. But you have 2 rookies covering 2 of the best wide receivers in the NFL one-on-one. Now, whether Kyle Hamilton was supposed to be back there or not, you as the coach are supposed to put the best players in the position to stop this nonsense. If Kyle Hamilton did not know his position in that game, I'm pretty sure he's done it in practice.
Yep.
And you as the coach saw that, but said, you know what? He's our first round pick. I got to get him in the game somehow. And you put him back there anyway.
And keep in mind, they're talking to somebody on the field from 40 seconds to 15 seconds.
Yep.
So that makes it even worse.
Man, you got Marcus Peters in his first game back in over a year. You leave him in one-on-one coverage. Now, is that the safety's fault? Is that Marcus Peters' fault? No, I put it on the defensive coordinator because he shouldn't be covering somebody one-on-one his first game back.
Who was it? Go ahead.
I was going to say, Hendo, keep in mind when we talk about coaching, remember those 2 plays we talked about earlier? Tyreek was on Bynes at one point.
Yes.
Tyreek was on Queen at one point.
And Waddle was on Bynes. I mean, Queen was on Waddle too.
Yes.
They covered both of them.
Yeah. And that's coaching.
So that's
either you didn't sub in the right package, or you got you showing something somewhere and leaving these guys hung out to dry.
No, coach. That tells me that we don't have defensive coordinators that run with specific game plans specific to them. It's telling me we run the same thing over and over. We're still running Wink's defense because it's the Baltimore Ravens defense. That's why we still have miscommunications. We still have linebackers and defensive linemen covering wide receivers 5 and 10 yards down the field.
Always still dropping.
This is also that Jalen Armour safety, by the way,
who was standing flat-footed when Tyree ran by him and just wasn't by.
Looking for the safety
because it's just like he stood there and he said, "That's Tyree. That's Tyree. That's not my guy. There's no way that's my guy. I'm gonna stay right here. I'm gonna wait for that running back leaking out of into the flat."
He knew as soon as he ran by him, he was like, "This doesn't feel right. I should be running. Right? I should be at least backing up. Right? I shouldn't be flat-footed."
But he didn't even. He stopped.
Why is the crowd cheering? Oh, damn.
He said, "What was that?"
He stopped. So he didn't even he stopped. So it had to be. I don't know who was supposed to be over the top, but you can't have those. You can't have those type of breakdowns on 2 consecutive series like that. You cannot.
That is not my man. I'm gonna stand here and wait for the next train coming through. I am not covering Tyreek Hill.
He was like Tyreek Hill.
This had to be a flag, like Soldier Boy.
Right.
He didn't even turn his hips. He was still in his back pedal. He was like this. He went by him like, okay, somebody back there.
So Baltimore,
I wouldn't even look back. I was like, no, somebody got him.
Baltimore get upset. It's an easy fix. If it's an easy fix, why does it keep happening?
What's the
you see what the easy fix is though? Right?
When is it going to be fixed?
Fire Harbs.
Oh yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna pull.
Oh, you mean fire? Good.
Get up.
Yes, if it is fire.
This is why it's not easily fixed. Because if wherever say you and your homeboy work together, how hard is it going to be for you to go to your homeboy and like, look, bro, you gotta go. That's what we're looking at.
Coach,
that's the situation we're looking at.
Hey, coach, it depends. It depends on the people that you're talking about. Because all of my friends know, and my family, if they effing up, I have no problem walking to them saying, "Yo, you gotta go."
But the thing is,
family too.
Harbaugh is messing up. It ain't costing Bashida no money, so he can continue to mess up.
Until Lamar go, then it's going to be.
That's when the finger pointing stuff going to start coming.
But coach, this is the problem. EDC can't fire Harbaugh. That's the problem.
That's kind of what I'm saying.
Yeah, but he can mess up all he wants. But Shotty is the only one that can say Harbaugh, you got to go.
Yeah, remember them cats stay next door to each other.
Right, but I don't have the burden of having to fire you. It's not even in my power. It's above pay grade, so I can be friends with you all I want to because I will never have to have that conversation.
Hey, same thing with the Lamar conversation.
In the chat, Axel, he being funny. He said, "Y'all still squawking about a little slip up on the back end. Who ain't been in that scenario before?" When was the last time the Ravens defense is giving up 28 points in a fourth quarter? Pull that game up for me, please. If you wouldn't mind.
Hold on. I gotta read the chat.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Wow.
Boy, you wild, man. You wild.
Axel, wow. Yeah.
You're wild, boy. You're wild.
Hey,
boy.
listen, Axel, if it happened twice in a row, that's when the problem lies.
That's what it's the problem, right?
Two times 18 is 36 every day. Deal with it.
The defense that we keep saying we want, right? That we keep comparing it to those 2000 defense. If they gave up one big play like that in the fourth quarter, there would be a fight on the sideline.
Yes, it would.
Yeah.
There would be some screaming.
Go back to Rex.
Listen, yes. Well, that's the one thing. I know I told Rex to sit down, but if that happened on Rex defense, nope. Like heads are gonna roll. He would go off. He would let them know this ain't gonna happen. Not on my defense.
You know the interesting thing about the miscommunication. We were told this year, right, by Mike McDonald that they went back to everyone knowing everyone's job, right?
Yeah.
I know where I'm supposed to be, and I know what if I'm at defensive end, I know where I'm supposed to be, and I know where the safety's supposed to be. right?
Mhm.
Clearly, that is not true if it happened twice like that. It
Right.
can't be true if it happens twice like that. And
But
again,
it really happened once. The Hamilton, the first one, Hamilton didn't
got
stand his
sucked in. Yeah,
responsibility.
you're right. That wasn't communication. He got sucked in. You're right.
Yeah,
You're right.
But the other one definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
The first one is communication because nobody said you keep fucking up, I'm gonna beat your ass. That's where the communication
Oh,
happened.
it looked like Peter said that too.
Listen, Pete, and that's why I love Marcus Peters because he has that old Ravens mentality. Like, bro, I ain't one of the ones that's gonna tap you on your helmet and be like, next time, bro. No,
Right.
me and you gonna fight in this locker room. You keep doing this. So
you could tell Peter said something a little
did.
something to him.
Mhm.
That's why they're not gonna bring Peters back.
But
But
one time on the
surprisingly,
screen, it was 3 people arguing. We're not arguing, trying to communicate.
Yeah.
It was Pepe, it was Jalen Armour Davis, and Kyle Hamilton. Them guys should not be in that situation.
Trying to figure out
Trying to
who's right.
And then there was no like older guy, trying to straighten it out. It was just them 3. And I don't know if they were talking or trying to figure out what they got or arguing or what, but it just didn't look good with them 3 rookies. And the way Tyreek and Waddle was heating up.
It was the actual picture of that coach.
I saw it somewhere.
Because if not, if so, I'm gonna find it and make a meme of that Spider-Man meme where everybody pointing at each other. You. So I have a question. I have a question for everybody. Where does the Baltimore Ravens defense rank in the league as far as yardage?
Statistically?
Yeah.
I
don't know. I'm asking. That's what I'm asking.
They've got to be near last after 2 weeks, right?
Because it's all world secondary that everybody told me.
Now, I mean, granted, just total numbers. I mean, Flacco threw for over 300 yards, but he did it on 59 attempts. So,
but he did it with the Jets.
It wasn't. Yeah, but it was what 5 yards an attempt or whatever. Like that wasn't bad defense. That was we're just gonna keep throwing the ball no matter what.
But listen,
Jets got better receivers than us.
But listen, Rodney, I'm gonna tell you this. If they'd have started Garrett Wilson and actually let him play the whole game, he'd have had a lot more yards than that.
Well, maybe not. We don't know. We know what he had. All right. So
shots fired. Bow.
What do you have?
The only
307.
The only bright side. The only thing you can take away is yes, it is week 2, and if this coaching staff is worth anything, if these players are actually the players that we thought they were, that we drafted and signed, they can turn it around. They got to play lights out from here on out. And this could be something that we look back on and say, yeah, we had a little, you had a little hiccup in the beginning. We can laugh at the game. You remember that crazy game? Yeah, that was wild. But, man, doesn't look good. It doesn't look good. They have some ground to cover. And I said it on Coach's show where we're discussing where does the team rank defensively at the end of the year. I said it has to be top 5, right? We invested too much in the defense for it to not be. Outside top 5 is okay, fine. We didn't quite hit expectations, but outside top 10 is a complete failure.
Stop right there.
And we're trending towards failure right now.
Stop right there. If y'all can see my screen, I'm starting from the top to bottom. That's San Francisco on top, and this is yards per game. San Francisco's number 1, 210 yards per game. Look who's on the bottom.
I knew it.
Yeah, look, it's just just 2 games.
It is just 2 games, but I just wanted to go to
like that. If it's like that 6 weeks from now, then you got a real issue.
Now, y'all don't necessarily mean points, like but y'all's a big indication.
Yeah. It's going to be like that in a couple weeks from now, also because they got Buffalo coming in. So
okay,
it's not going to get better in the short term. But
all right, Coach, where do we rank as far as scoring defense?
Scoring D. Let me see. Would it be total points or points per game?
Same. Look, it's
evil.
Right. We are not at the bottom, so let me count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Carolina's at 17. 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. 22 out of 32.
Mm-hmm.
Giving up how many a game? 25.5 a game. Tampa Bay leads it at 6.5. Vikings 7. Well, they just playing out, and Buffalo at 8. So
Okay.
that's an eye opener to me.
Okay.
And that was all this game. Essentially.
It was.
You know, they gave up 9 points in week 1.
Yeah.
So yeah,
But
I mean those kind of stats are
I still
hard
hate
to look at early on.
I still hate. I ain't gonna say hate. I shouldn't hate anybody. I still dislike what Greg Roman has done with the opportunities he's had with the Baltimore Ravens. But I will say this past week was probably one of his best games called. I agreed with a lot of calls. They had 58 plays, and I would be okay with 75% of them. You know, and I'm even good on the going for the fourth downs, but not with the plays that were called.
Mm-hmm.
And the only creativity on those plays were like I said, the Andrews and hand the ball to Ricard. Everything else was back to predictable. It was you probably got a play sheet. Okay, these are they short yardage plays, and we ran the 3 that the defense probably had on their sheet.
Yeah.
It's a damn shame, but that was the best game he's ever called, and he had that kind of game out of Lamar, and it ended in a loss.
So while we're on this topic, right? Because look, for those of you who don't know in the chat, B is a Panthers fan, right? Cam Newton's MVP year. I remember B telling me this, right? Because you know, there's a lot of parallels between what the Panthers do and what the Ravens do, and one of the criticisms that Carolina always had was the play calling, basic play calling, right? And Cam's MVP season, I was like, hey, it looks like they're doing some different things out there. And B pointed out, no, they're not doing anything different. It's just that Cam has mastered the playbook. He mastered this basic playbook, and he's executing at a higher level. The team's executing a little bit better because you have the same pieces there year in and year out. They just understand the playbook, and they're all on the same page. So they're performing better, right? When you have the talent to mitigate that even a basic offense, it can look a lot better, right? Mm-hmm. But when those pieces aren't there, you see it for what it is, right? There's no creativity there.
And they had a very similar problem to Baltimore. They were a power run and deep pass team, right? And they could never really consistently throw deep, even though Cam was very good at it early on in his career. They couldn't do it consistently because they couldn't protect Cam, and they didn't have any wide receivers, obviously. But that year, his MVP year, the year they went 15-1, they went to the Super Bowl. All they did was get a couple of mediocre tackles in Michael Oher and Mike Remmers. They pulled Mike Remmers off the Rams practice squad, and just that gave Cam enough time to make Ted Ginn a Pro Bowler.
Yep.
But you know what happened was, they had Ted Ginn, they had Jericho Cotchery, they had Philly Brown, they had Greg Olsen, who was the main pass catcher, the best pass catcher on the team. Then they had Jonathan Stewart at running back, and they had Mike Tolbert, Fat Mike, backing them up.
Yep.
And they ran through everybody, right? And everybody praised their defense. They said, "Oh, the defense is carrying them." That defense wasn't nearly as good as it looked. They gave up a lot of points, especially when you look at Josh Norman. He wasn't any kind of shutdown corner. He got beat all the time, but he was a playmaker. They forced a lot of turnovers. So they ran through everybody. They get to the playoffs. I was kind of nervous for that Arizona game. They steamrolled Arizona. You get to the Super Bowl against Denver, and you have mediocre tackles, bad wide receivers, and you go up against a team with first-round edge rushers on both sides and first-round corners on the outside and in the slot. And then Jonathan Stewart hurts his foot on like the second play of the game, and now it's Fat Mike, and it's Cam by himself, and all of a sudden Cam can't win. Yeah. They don't have the talent. They didn't really have the talent. You had Cam carrying that team. And that's the same thing that happened with Lamar in 2019 in his MVP season. You go 14-2, they look unstoppable. Because how could you possibly stop Gus Edwards? And then you get to the playoffs, you're like, oh, Gus really ain't. He really
right.
Ain't.
It's like, wow,
even when Mark gets hurt.
Nuts. Yeah. You have to have when you the deeper you go in the season, like you're not playing the Jets in the divisional round.
Right.
You're not going to get to play teams like that. You're not going to get to play the Colts, to go to the Super Bowl. You're going to play these teams like Miami, like Kansas City, who can go
Bills
nuclear.
Now.
Yeah, the Bills, they can go nuclear on you at any moment, and you're not going to be able to stop it.
Right.
You have to be able to respond.
Yeah.
And Baltimore's never been able to. They haven't had the talent to. And right now, I still don't think they do.
That's a great way to kind of end this thing. We had 2 hours, and it, again, does not seem like 2 hours. Great conversation going on. Always, that's why I'm glad these guys decided to do this with me. It's a great conversation. This is the first. Well, it's not the first. This is the first time we've lost the game and had to give our different points, and they weren't all the same. But even if there was something I disagree with, it's a respect toward it because they can defend their point, and I feel like I can defend my point if it's something that you guys don't agree with, and it ends up being a great back and forth. It ends up being a great conversation, and 2 hours goes by. But I think for the most part, we're in a consensus that as much as we all dislike Roman, this was not a Roman blame fest. This is not a point to finger at Roman. I think Rex Ryan hit, he touched the nerve because there's a lot of truth to what he said. That's why Harbaugh felt the need to address it. And I think he's right. I think, I don't know what McDonald's is going to do in the long run, but he did get to this position. And I know it's a lot of people that put in a lot more work than that guy.
A lot. A lot.
Hey, I know we had 2 hours, but I got one more thing to drop on y'all.
Go ahead.
Now we speak about Roman and Roman possibly calling the best game of his Ravens career, right? Not only did he do that, the Ravens basically played a perfect game. Check this out, and I'm sure some of y'all probably already know this. The Ravens did not turn the ball over.
Thanks.
Only had one penalty
versus
for 5 yards. Had 38 points at home and still lost. They basically played a perfect game. I'm not gonna say never, right? But how many times have the Ravens only had one penalty?
Yeah. No, you can say never. You can say never.
Especially on the O-line, the pre-snap penalties, man.
Right.
Good Lord.
Right.
Dropped
that's
38 points at home and still lost the game. So hopefully Harbs and the coaching staff, hopefully they able to tuck that into that. I don't know if y'all seen Bad Boys.
Put it in that
little box. Close the box. And you throw that mother in the ocean somewhere, right?
But that's where his vault is. Where are we gonna get the extra plays?
We need to go find that vault so we can get Oway out of there.
No, he put the stuff in his box.
No, I'm saying Oway's in there with
man.
Mike's stuff and then Big Mike's stuff and
Prochet.
And Martin. Prochet might be in there too.
Who said that?
He might be in there too.
That's right, Danny. Disgusting. Look what they did to Coach. They didn't turn him into one eye. Like that's disgusting. They turned him into one eye.
Hey, but again, great talking to you guys. And honestly, if I didn't have to go to work, we'd probably keep going. If they didn't disagree. But I gotta go to work. Alarm goes off at 5 o'clock. Which is 6 hours from now. So I appreciate you guys for coming on. Appreciate everybody in the chat box. Appreciate if you hit the like button for before you leave. It's a young lady in here that's telling you hit the like button. Trust me, she runs things, not me. Please do that. Thank you guys for coming on. Jose B, let them know where they can find you at.
Yes, every Wednesday night at 7:15 p.m. we are the Lunch Break Hot Take. 7:15 p.m. Eastern time on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook. That's where we are, and Twitch. We're streaming live on Twitch, and you can follow us on social media at Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at LBHT Show. And if you're into boxing, we also do a show with our good friend Mr. Mikey, Mr. OTR Mike over there. All right. Ring Kings Podcast. You can follow us all those places as well on social media at Ring Kings Pod.
B, you want to add to it? Or?
I am not.
Hendo, go ahead.
All right. You can find me on YouTube every Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern with my live show on Ravens Online on Gatekeeper. You can also find me on Twitter and Instagram at rgatekeepers. Hit me up. Let's keep it funky.
Appreciate the deuce, Brent. I'm always gonna have a good day. Always. I know how to have a good day at work. Mike.
So listen, see that name OTR, just add an underscore to that and follow me on Twitter. That's where you can find me at. I am 1/4 of the podcast formerly known as Off the Record Podcast. I am 1/3 of what Jose just said, Ring Kings Podcast with my two brothers, Jose and Brodney. Please check that out. Give us a follow.
Indeed.
Even if you're not into boxing, we gonna change that. We with the casual fans. Go check that out. And I am one of soon to be open mic podcast coming soon.
Hey,
So be looking out for that.
announcement,
Word.
breaking
Yeah.
news.
Message.
So follow that Twitter account and look out for when the podcast drop, but it's coming.
Gotcha. Again, appreciate you guys for being here. It's
Thank
been a
you.
pleasure. Those of you,
Yes, thank you.
can follow me on my socials, Coach Evans9 on Twitter and Sip the Tally on Instagram. Had been doing great discussions on Twitter. I normally don't put film on Twitter, but I did it last week and it was fun to interact with everybody. So that may be a weekly thing I start doing, throwing a player or two out there and see what the people think about it. Again, you could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us for 2 hours and 5 minutes. So I appreciate you guys. We'll see you soon with more film. Me with film, those guys with their podcast, and make sure you follow all the Ravens content creators. A couple guys were in the chat box. Ing Raven, appreciate you for coming through. Raven C was in there, and I think that's all of the content creators I know so far. I think what D Weezy do with y'all?
In there too.
Oh yeah, Vach came through. Vach always come. Now, if you don't know, Vach got me into this thing, and I'll tell that story another day. Vach played center for me in high school, but he got me into this YouTube thing. So the teacher became the student, so to speak. But again, we out. It's 2 hours, guys. Hold on a minute, but I'm finna cut the live and like the video.